Welcome back, casuals.
Woo! Let's get motivated.
They carried me out and then just launched me like a little javelin.
Who do you think you are? I am.
Welcome back, casuals.
Welcome
Live
back.
action.
We've got a special guest today.
Yeah, we got a guest that busiest man in the world. We've been trying to get him on for a while, but understandably so.
That's life, eh?
That's all an axe, guys. Let's keep the clients guessing.
But yeah, we
us on
got
toes.
graphic designer extraordinaire, Mr. Lee Olsen. Welcome, mate. Thanks for
Morning, brother.
finally joining
Thanks
us.
for coming on, man.
Thank you for having me. Appreciate the interest, to be honest.
Pretty excited about this episode. We're going to dive into a lot of stuff, I'm sure. But one thing I wanted to touch on first is your Instagram. What do you call it?
The handle.
Handle.
Yeah. Shift refresh.
So for ages, I wasn't taking proper notice, and I thought it said "shit's fresh." I thought it said "shit's fresh."
That's what it should have been.
Changes it tonight.
I can tell you, so I was a web designer prior to doing any of the sports stuff.
No.
And I started my own business, and it was called Shift Refresh because when you, I don't know if you know anything about websites.
I know a couple of little shortcuts on a keyboard, not shift refresh.
When you're updating like the style sheets for a website, if you make a change and people can't see it yet, you need to clear the cache.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
And to do that, you literally hold down Shift and click refresh.
Okay, yeah. So
okay.
it's cool.
Yeah, and I used to have to do that all the time.
Yep.
And I used to, that sounds interesting. And so it started off, my business for website design was called Shift Refresh.
Yeah, right.
And then years ago, I created a Twitter and a bunch of things called Shift Refresh, but I wasn't using it yet.
Yep.
And then so when I started doing the sports stuff, I was like, well, that's already there. And like that's literally how it came out. There was no thought into it.
Yeah.
Yep.
And if I did put thought into it, because the first few years I'd be ringing people, Lee from Shift Refresh. I was like, what? Shit refresh, what? And I should have taken the cue then and sort of changed it.
No, I reckon it's cool. I reckon it's awesome.
I've got dudes, I like it now. I've got dudes like that I highly respect calling me like Shifty. Like that's my
Old Shifty.
That's old Shifty doing it. Yeah, let's put this. So yeah, it's worked out. But if I had really sat down and given it some thought, I wouldn't have done that because I've got that, and then I've got like Leo Sports, which is on Facebook.
Yep.
And that was just based on my signature. So from a branding perspective, I've like really fucked it up. Like, it's supposed to be concise. You're supposed to have one thing.
One
and
sort
I've
of
just
branded top. Yeah.
So whenever I put like my logo on a graphic now, there's like LO and then Shift Refresh,
Got a
and it's
few
like,
things
who the
going on.
fuck is this? It's collabing with himself or something. Like, but yeah, that's where that comes from.
No, cool. That's good.
Man.
So yeah, well, I reckon we'll dive into all the cool stuff later. But just tell us about growing up and.
Yeah, so I was born in Cairns, lived there for 5 years. My dad worked at the main roads in Cairns there, so he got transferred to Townsville, and that's why we came here in like the late 80s, and we set up in Kelso. I went to school there for like a year or two.
Yeah, true.
Ghetto, eh?
Yeah.
I don't know if I feel like it was. I had a neighbour who
Then it would have been country.
Yeah.
It wouldn't have been ghetto.
Yeah.
it was on
It's
its
beautiful
way.
out there. Kelso is actually sick out in the dam and that.
One of these jokes is like I'm like a bit of a square, bit of a dork.
Yeah.
Don't know nothing about cars. Like
Yeah.
I live in Townsville, and people should go, "Oh yeah, fucking good on you." I enjoy rum. Like
Yeah.
there are certain things,
Yeah.
but like I have an automatic license. I don't drive a manual car. And I joked to my parents, like when we lived in Kelso, my neighbour, who was a couple of years older than me, we used to call him. His name was Digger. I was like 6 years old. He was like 8 years old. And he was like driving cars and
Holy.
like, had a mullet, all this kind of stuff.
Proper
Rev it.
Kelso.
Yeah.
But we left there about a year or two later. We moved to Wallaroo, which isn't a great deal different.
Yeah.
And then we moved to Oak Valley, and I spent most of my childhood living out in the sticks
Oak Valley.
there.
I love Oak Valley.
I love it.
I love it.
there.
It's awesome, man.
My parents sold their place there, and I was devastated. But we joke because I grew up just on a computer in Oak Valley, just doing this kind of stuff.
man, yeah.
And we joke, had we stayed in Kelso and I was still living next to Digger,
Yeah.
I would have been driving tractors. I would have been.
You would have had a cruiser.
Would have had a cruiser, Commodore.
The whole life.
Definitely a mullet.
I drive a Commodore. So I'm a contradiction, but yeah. Grew up in Kelso, moved to Wallaroo, lived there, went to Wallaroo Primary School, right next to the Suns Club.
Yeah.
Yeah, one of my best mates there was Marcus Bragg. He was the son of Mark Bragg, who was the coach of the Suns.
Yep.
So we used to go to the Suns Club after school, and like Derek Rucker and Clarence Tyson would be playing one-on-one.
I was waiting to hear that name.
Yeah, man.
Rucker. Holy. Rucker.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I was in like grade 7 just watching all this stuff, just getting into
going
basketball at the time. And there was one time we were in there, and I'm like it's like walking on eggshells because like this is a privilege for me. These guys just do this all the time. They grew up in this world. I remember they had Powerade had just been this it seemed like it was this new thing. They used to have powdered Powerade.
Yeah.
like this lot.
Yeah.
I remember getting this cup and walking out and spilling it on the court
Shame job, eh?
at the Suns Club. I was like, this is the end of me. Like,
Never
the nerves
invited
kicking
back.
in, eh?
yeah, that was it. But,
Is that what pretty much got you into basketball? Or so did you play and stuff, or you
That-
just sat on your computer?
No, around about 95 is when I got into it. So like we used to play at school, and then my best mate Marcus and his mate Eric, who was also David Lindstrom, was the assistant coach of the Suns. So that was
I remember that.
the two. They were the same age, and they were happened to be in my class. So they played for Hyatt's, which is a local basketball club. So I was like, oh, I'm going to play for them too. And that was 95. I still play for Hyatt's now. We just had our first game
fair dinkum.
last,
So
last
you
Wednesday.
would have been tall in high school too?
I was
gravitate?
relatively tall. It was actually later high school that I shot up. I think it was there was like one holidays between like 98 and 99 where I think I grew like 4 inches.
It's
in,
crazy
like-
how that happens, eh? Yeah, just get a
and
mad
you get
growth
the knee
spurt.
pains and
Yeah,
stuff.
yep.
Yeah.
I think if you play basketball, you get an extra foot.
I think so.
'Cause,
Yeah.
like I'm Filipino and my cousin plays basketball. And he looks adopted now.
Keep growing.
But it's like they know.
Yeah.
Like
It's funny how that works, though, right? Like say, like Kevin Durant is like literally 7 foot,
Man, he's
but he
a
doesn't want to be
boss.
known as a 7-footer.
Yep.
So he's like, oh no, I'm 6'11". Like it's it's this weird take. Everyone has a different
taboo.
take on height. Yeah.
He's
that's
such a
weird
boss,
because
eh? So
usually
underrated.
people tell you that they're taller than they are. You know?
Until a point, and then it's like, because then it's like freakish tall.
Yeah.
Like I'm
Yeah.
right on that level of like, I'll get the kids just gawking at me.
Yeah.
Because I remember you had like Sizzler and you used to be able to eat at Pizza Hut and stuff. And when you were a kid,
man.
you're sitting there, and
was
some
the best.
big tall fuckhead would come walk in and he'd be like, and then it dawned on me like,
Ducking to get into
yeah,
the door,
and now
yeah.
I'm that tall.
Well, what are you? How tall are you?
I'm 6'7".
6'7". Yeah.
That's definitely that's
Definitely
Kevy-
get-
if
6'7" in the morning. By the end of the day, where you're old, you drop lines.
hunched over a bit.
Yeah.
If Kevy's calling you tall, you fucking tall.
No, 6'7" is tall, man. That's what I was saying before. I seen a photo of you and Shaq, and I was like, holy shit, this dude is tall. You make Shaq look normal.
Well, to a point, he's a freak of a human being.
Yeah, he's such a cool dude,
He
man.
is
eh?
cool. He is
And
cool. I
he's,
remember-
he's DJing career like Diesel. And
He
that.
does
He's-
everything, eh?
I love him, eh? But yeah.
Well, let's get into that.
Yeah, might as well get into that, yeah.
How'd you meet?
Well, I'll just say Shaq is probably, he was my first, that was probably what got me into basketball. I remember there was a kid wearing an Orlando Magic hat
Yeah.
in like grade 6 or 7, and I was like, oh, what's that? That's a cool hat.
Yeah.
And he told me all about Shaq, and I went home and figured it out or something.
he was
Yeah,
dominant,
there was
eh?
no internet back
Yeah,
then.
no internet. Oh,
So
dude.
dominant.
We used to, like, there was the 95 NBA Finals. It was the Orlando Magic versus the Houston Rockets. It was Shaq versus Hakeem Olajuwon. My mate was an Olajuwon fan. I was a Shaq fan. We ended up getting swept. It was this whole big thing. It could have gone another way, but we won't get into that.
Yep.
But to find the actual up-to-the-date scores, like to find out what was happening at the time, you used to have to ring the NBA hotline.
Really?
Like literally,
Cost you $10 a minute.
Yeah. Hey, Steve, what's happening? And it was like however many like $1 a minute or something, and that dude would literally just read out the box score,
Yeah, right.
and that was it. And I was like, oh, this is awesome.
That's
Like,
cool,
yeah.
eh? Because that would have been even before, like, what was it, ESPN and shit?
But
on
I think
All-Star, remember
right
that?
around that time, All Star came in. I didn't get All Star till like grade 12.
Yeah,
and by
yeah.
that time I was like fucking full on.
Yeah,
full
loving it.
NBA obsessed.
Yep.
But Shaq was my first.
He was dominant,
first guy,
eh?
yeah.
In that, and I think I remember it was like him in the he was dominant against the Bulls even, when Jordan in the
Yeah,
early
he
90s.
had his moments, but that was right when Jordan had come back, and like there was that one year that that
96.
run to the finals where
Yep.
where the Magic got against Houston. That was when they knocked out the Bulls.
Yep.
But that was when Jordan had just come back from baseball and he was a little bit rusty.
Yep.
And then one of the Orlando players sort of said, "Oh, because he was wearing 45 at the time, he's like 45. He ain't no 23."
Yeah.
And that was the biggest mistake he could have
Yeah,
made.
then he used to
Yeah.
goal.
So-
Jordan went off and made Space Jam. And
That made it personal. You know that little thing that pops up all the
Oh,
time?
yeah.
Then
Yeah.
it was personal or whatever. And then he just
he
like
took on
cut
the
sick.
Monsters, the Monsters, and then he came back and just fucking scorched earth.
Just
took
ran
everyone down.
amok.
So what about the meeting with Shaq? Like,
Yeah, so that was a long time coming. Like it goes back to when Kobe passed away, because Shaq and Kobe had like this tumultuous relationship,
Yep.
and I always thought Kobe would be like this old dude that like when it's NBA Finals time when they bring Bill Russell out, like he was an old legend,
Yeah.
he would hand the trophy on to the next player, and
Yep.
I always just pictured Kobe would be doing that, and I sort of thought how Shaq and Kobe would be growing up as old men, they'd patch up on their kids and this and that. So anyway, I made this graphic of old Shaq and old Kobe, like
epic.
kind of thing, just to like I thought I'd like to see that, and I
Yep.
put that up. And I can't remember. This was I'm getting confused now because I made another graphic that was prior to Kobe dying, and then after he passed away, that graphic blew up.
Oh, really?
Yeah, just
Yep.
But anyway, this one with Shaq and Kobe, I put it up there, and then like a few days later, Shaq's shared it, I think.
Yeah.
And then Shaq's agent reached out to me directly and goes, "Hey, Shaq really likes this. Would you be able to, put it on a canvas or something?"
yeah.
I was like, "Fuck
That
yeah,
is
yeah,
amazing,
no worries, man. Yeah,
True.
So I set that up. I had a canvas company in.
Wait up. What was that like? Getting like hanging up that phone call.
That was crazy because for years prior, because Shaq was my guy, I'd always be posting graphics and stuff, and he would share it, but like he would just like unknowingly crop out my signature.
Unknowingly, yeah.
Like, I don't think he's literally going, "Let's fucking get this guy out of there." It's like he's just, when you post a picture, sometimes
And you
it
just take
might
the
be a
little crop.
vertical picture, and it's just a square.
And just misses
crop,
the
things
bottom
like
bit.
that.
Yeah.
But it was this joke that this happened multiple times, and we were like, "Come on, Shaq, what's going on here?" And my friend, like my designer friends, would be trying to share and like try and get his attention.
Yeah.
So anyway, I posted this, and then when the agent reached out, I was like, "Oh, finally, there could be something here." So sent it off to him, and then like one day that graphic was shared on Inside the NBA on TNT. Like just I'm sitting there watching this stuff, like just surreal.
Holy.
And then like 6 months later or something, it's announced Shaq's coming to Australia to do like some tour and stuff. So I was like, I was going to go regardless.
Yep.
But when I do go this time, I'm going to bring a little printout of this graphic. And when I stand in line to meet this dude, I'm going to, "Hey man, I'm the guy that did this."
The one you keep cropping out.
The one you keep cropping out. Yeah. So I pulled it out, showed it to him, and he instantly, because when you're standing for a photo op, there's like a lineup and there's all these like rich dudes who don't know anything about basketball, but have paid like $10,000
to try and
for
get
the
to the
ticket.
front.
They're
Yeah.
first in line and stuff. So he gets through all those guys. He's like patting them on the head like this. And he sees me, and there's eye contact. "Oh, fucking here we go." And to be honest, I didn't actually. I was a chance I was going to miss out on the line. My wife, who was with me, because I'm like sort of shy and timid and stuff. She's like, "You're going to need to just push in,
Barge in,
get-
yeah.
Just get
And
mongrel
I'm like,
about
"No,
it.
I don't know." And my wife's like, "No, fucking push in."
Yep.
I was like, "Oh, okay." And
Yep.
without her like telling me,
Yeah,
to
that's
get in
good.
there.
Yep.
So she's pushed me in, and she's my personal videographer,
Yeah.
like doing the whole thing and stuff. So we got in there. I showed him the graphic, and he's like, "Oh." And like as he's taking the photo, he signals to the guy behind the stage, he's like social media manager and guru or whatever, and he's like, "Oh, pull him aside." So we get the photo, and then they pull my wife and I aside, and we're all these like behind the scenes dudes, and Shaq's like after this we'll have a chat and stuff. So I'm like, my mind's rushing. I was like, "Fuck, here we go, big time now, Hollywood baby." Like, we're like thinking this is
What
it.
a good feeling, man. What an
So we
awesome
went backstage. He had an interview. He was making a documentary at the time, which I don't know if that eventuated or not. But he sat down and we had a chat with this dude, and it was like this whirlwind thing. But had a bit of a chat to him, and then he was on his way. Then the next day, I met with another manager of his. He wanted to get this other graphic I did so they could put on a T-shirt, and they were going to sell it on Culture Kings or something. I'm not sure what came of that.
Yeah,
but it was just for like a little kid.
That's surreal, man. Yeah.
So-
How much of your
Meeting one of your
stuff
idols.
does sort of just get snatched up and you don't really get?
Dude, I could
anymore?
rattle off.
People using
I've had,
shirts
like
and
Snoop Dogg has
Sure.
grabbed something like years ago.
Really?
There's this guy, Lonzo Ball, was like
Yeah.
the big draft pick for the Lakers
Yeah,
at the time.
yeah.
And Snoop's a massive Lonzo Ball fan, and I just did some random graphic just to put it up there. And then like a week later, on his like story, there's that graphic, and he's got text and crap all over it and stuff. I was like, "That's
Just
pretty
claimed
cool."
it himself.
Oh, this is what it's
Just
like
grab
on
it.
on the internet. You just
Yeah.
grab a picture and put it there. It's like
Yeah, true.
it's, so much good has come to me from the internet
Yeah.
that it outweighs any of the little TikTok. I've had people like when Kobe died, someone grabbed one of my shirt graphics and put it on a shirt, and it was outside on sale at Staples Center with a bunch of other like hot black market merchandise and stuff.
Really? That's just the nature of the
Yeah,
internet.
and you
Yes.
can't
Okay.
stop it, I suppose,
Yeah.
either. So.
You can't.
just gotta accept it, I
Yeah, you
understand
put
it.
your signature on there, and you hope if some big opportunity comes from it, they figure it out. But
you
I've
credit.
started
Yeah.
to make enough of a name for myself now
Yeah.
that people sort of know. And the great thing is the community, like especially the graphic design community, they know what the grind is like. They look after each other. So
Yeah,
hey, mate,
yeah.
I've seen someone doing this, and
Pointed
it's-
out that. Yeah.
it's sort of what goes around comes around kind of thing. So I don't. When Shaq first cropped my thing out, because it was like to me that was like a make or break thing. I was like,
Yeah.
oh my god. Because you
Yeah,
think when
you
someone
would.
like that breaks you or shares you, you think that's it now. You're a big time.
Oh, I've made it. Yeah, yeah.
It doesn't work like that.
Yeah,
like
of course.
You might get a follower
Still
bump, and
takes a
then
while, yeah.
it's
Yeah.
it's just a
So
grind.
getting into the graphic design work and art and that, like, was that something like you'd done as a kid, or when did you get into that? And
I've always liked to just create stuff. Wasn't necessarily good at it, but just always I'd get a little idea. I want to do this and do that. But when I went through high school, I did I was doing tech drawing. So like just literally, it was before we even had computers in our class. We couldn't use AutoCAD and stuff. So I was using like just protractors and set squares.
Oh,
and
yeah.
On
front. This is at high school.
Yeah,
so doing
yeah.
like I was going to be an architect.
Yeah, okay.
That was where I was headed towards. And then I realized, like, all right, it's the year 12. You got to figure out where you're going to go. I had to go to Brisbane to be an architect, and I was such a mama's boy.
You do like, I don't want to move
I was
away.
like,
Fair enough.
I can't do that.
Yeah,
Like, I can barely tie my own shoelaces.
Yeah.
So-
Townsville's too good.
yeah. There's too much happening here.
Living the high life in Oak Valley.
Yeah, the Cowboys are popping off. What are we gonna do? So I was like, what am I going to do here? And then I saw that there was I think my art teacher recommended maybe graphic design, something you could do. And it was funny because I sucked at art. Like at the time,
right,
I was getting by, but nothing great. I was enjoying it, but every project I did was basketball related. Like every single art project. Let's see how I can make Michael Jordan out of clay or something. Like just all the time. It just looked shit. But anyway, I managed to segue. There was the Vincent campus up here at JCU. It's not there anymore, but you know where the Vincent Village Shopping Centre is?
Behind it.
Yeah. It was half old folks, like...
Yeah, I remember. That's where
like-
Pathways is, boys.
Yeah, I know the building. I never remember it.
But it was
being that,
half
though.
like theatre / art, and then half like we'd be going into a lecture, and then there'd be like an 80-year-old woman hopping out of a pool with like a mobile.
Just finished
art
water
camera,
aerobics.
all on the same campus.
That's a universal complex.
There you go, yeah. And so anyway, that the graphic design course there must have been relatively new, or they were looking to bring in more people. That I went in for a follow interview, and my folio was literally like side elevations of houses and floor plans and stuff, and a couple of art things that just sucked. And they was like, yeah, come in, yeah, we'll take you. Like, and it turned out the blessing was by allowing me in there, I managed, that was when I didn't have a license or anything like that. So my mum and my dad would drop me off at the Vincent campus.
Yep.
I would go into the computer lab at like 8 a.m. and just fucking and like learn Photoshop. I'd never learned Photoshop until that day.
Jeez.
I just introduced Photoshop, and I spent those 3 years of uni because I couldn't go and party and do all the other stuff people were doing, or I probably chose not to because being a bit of a square.
Yeah, good on you.
I just grinded out, and that's where I learnt sort of Photoshop and doing some stuff in the spare time.
Just
So-
pro show Photoshop.
Well, yeah, and it's
Is that mainly what you're using now still?
yeah, man.
Photoshop?
We were joking the other day. It was like so 2001 is when I first started to use Photoshop. What 2025 now? So what's that, like 25 years?
Jeez.
And even conservatively, like just say absolute conservatively, 4 hours a day, which is probably half of what I use it for.
Yep.
4 hours a day for 25 years. Like you do the math on that. And
Yeah, do the maths, us.
yeah. And the funny thing is, probably half of that time was probably a hot pirated version of Photoshop.
Crack version,
Until I went on the cloud service, and you can't really do that anymore. So,
You're like, oh, I've been
until I
biting
went
the bullet
legit,
now.
I was like, I can't be working for these athletes and just be.
How good is how much has Photoshop improved?
It's improved quite a bit, but the stuff that I use hasn't changed quite a lot.
Right.
Like I still use a lot, but in the last few years with the AI stuff, that's blown. That's just
It's changed the game or what?
It's changed the
Has
game,
it made
but
it
it's-
easier for you or hard? What's your thoughts on that?
It's a conflicting thing. Like in terms of Photoshop, I'm still using Photoshop version from 2022, which
Yep.
is doesn't use a whole lot of that yet.
Okay, yeah.
There's a whole thing in the graphic design space and the art space, and justifiably so. If you're an artist and you spent your time coming up with a style and learning all this kind of stuff, when you can actually replicate that now just by typing some stuff and hitting enter,
Yeah.
just like a lot of industries, you start to freak out. You're like, "Fuck, I'm going to be,
gotta be frustrating, yeah.
obsolete here."
Yeah.
So there's a massive pushback against that, which
Yeah, of course.
I can see
Yeah.
and I can understand it.
Yep.
I'm stuck in this spot where I'm starting to realize that you can't stop AI; it's coming.
Yeah.
And so there's an element of, do you learn to adapt and use
and
part of it?
and go with it or get
But-
pushed aside.
Yeah, and is there a way to do that without feeling like you're compromising your artistic integrity?
Yeah.
You don't want to lose your soul. Or
You don't want to
the
use your
of
soul.
it, or- you know what I
and
mean?
Most people my age now, like I'm 41, I'll be 42 this year. Most people my age, especially in the social media graphic designs, they work their way up to become a manager.
Yep.
And they don't want to do the shit I do anymore. They want to be. That's what the new guy out of uni
The
does.
up-and-comers meant to do
I'm
that,
I'm the
yeah.
mover and shaker. I'm telling you to do this, but I'm
Yeah.
off having meetings and stuff. I don't want that. I get my enjoyment out of sitting on the computer.
Yep, and creativity.
A moment
Of it.
happens in sport or something. I get my hands dirty.
Yeah.
That's the thing that I like.
Yep.
So I still want to keep that. I don't want the computer to do all that for me.
You don't want to lose all the creativity spark.
Exactly.
It's an outlet, right? Yeah.
So what I find is starting to work for me is like prior to AI, people would, like just to expedite things and to be the most efficient is you'd use like stock graphics. So like if I was going to do a graphic of like Michael Jordan sitting in a big gold throne with trophies everywhere, you would find a stock photo of a trophy or a stock photo of a chair, and you'd Photoshop that and get it to looking cool and
good.
stuff.
Yeah.
And that was sort of, in my mind, that's like a compromise where you're not creating everything from scratch, but you're taking bits and pieces. The overall vision is still yours, and you're still putting it together and you're putting your style on it. Like I sort of see that's how I work. So what I've been doing is, instead of using a lot of the stock stuff, is I'll use AI to create a stock image.
Yeah, okay. It's like creating a sample.
Yeah,
Kind of like sample track for you. You just overlay over
exactly.
that.
Yeah, so like if you have like, because I'll get some crazy ass requests. I've just done some stuff for Valentine's Day where I've got like Ben Simmons like holding a Cupid's bow. I've got to do like 10 graphics. I don't have the time to sit there and create every single
So that's the
arrow
helpful
stuff.
side of it, obviously.
Yeah, so I'll
that's
take
what
bits of
does
that
help.
and then I'll put it together and I'll paint it and apply my thing to that.
And like you said too, you're not the best. Like I'm still spinning out that you're not actually. I
Dude.
thought you would have been a mad drawer to start with or something
I am a
like that. You
shithouse
know,
drawer.
like
Yeah, same. Fuck drawing.
The joke I make is up until about the age of like 8, 9, 10, I was a pretty fucking banging drawer. I could draw a Ninja Turtle better than anyone. Like, and I can still draw the Ninja Turtle at the level of an 8 or 9, 10-year-old. Like,
Going on that, you're a Ninja Turtle fan, yeah?
yes, man. Yeah.
Yeah, we've seen some of your stuff. We all love Ninja Turtles.
Yeah. I've having kids has been like a blessing in terms of not growing up. Like,
Fuck yeah.
I've needed to find
all
an
that
excuse.
shit.
I've been
bro.
looking for the perfect excuse
yeah.
not to grow up for years, and now I've got two looking at me, kind of thing. So,
Yeah, bro.
and it's only been the last sort of 6 months. I don't know what started it, but I stumbled on some collector thing on Facebook or something, or Instagram or something. There was a 1/3 scale Terminator endoskeleton.
I've seen that.
Yeah,
Did
there's
you
this-
paint that?
Oh, so that's something I've worked on. So there's a company called Prime One who make these collectible things. They basically target dudes our age who have grown up,
Yep.
or have got a bit of a pop culture fandom, and now have a disposable income, I guess.
Yeah.
So when they were kids, their parents
Smart,
couldn't get them,
yeah.
but now
That's
they've
exactly
got
what it is.
Yeah, you got thousands of dollars to just blow on dumb shit. And this statue thing, I was looking at it, and it was like by the time you bring it into Australia and shipping, it's like $5,000 or $6,000 for this thing.
Jeez.
It's like a 1/3 scale, And I'm looking at it, and my brain's like, dude, you can't get that. You can't get it. And I pre-ordered it. And then for like a month, I'm like, you idiot. Like, I'm struggling to pay for groceries and stuff. What are you doing? And I was like, and then I saw there's another company who make little plastic figures that are like 1/4 scale. And it's like $300. And it doesn't look as good, but it looks pretty good.
Yeah.
I was like, I reckon I could probably get one of them secondhand. And here's an excuse to go buy an airbrush and buy some chrome paint.
And
I could make a base and let's see if we could make this look like a statue.
Yeah.
And so I was like, I cancelled that pre-order. All of a sudden, I'm not thinking about this $5 or $6 grand. I'm going to have to buy a mask kind of thing. And maybe instead of that, I'm enjoying this. Maybe I can do a whole bunch of shit like this. Fast forward to my little corner at home now, and I've just got fucking Terminators, T-Rexes, like fucking
Everything.
Batman, just VHS collection just popped up out of nowhere.
Oh, that's cool.
And I'm enjoying it, but now there's times I'm like, man, what am I doing?
Nah, we were talking about collectibles, I think, on the last
one of the
episode,
last
and
ones,
we
yeah,
were
Lars
saying
has-
like,
has a few
you
of
know,
them.
hold on to it long enough.
Heaps of-
Yeah.
He's got heaps.
It's
Yeah,
just
I held on to like all my Street Fighter figurines.
Oh,
and
sick.
all my what like Storm Collectibles have
Yeah.
a Mortal Kombat line.
Oh,
Mortal
no.
Kombat line.
Yeah.
And I've got most of them.
that's awesome,
Yeah.
man. It's a slippery slope, eh?
Oh, mate.
Because I was into the basketball cards back in the day, and then because they blew up again through COVID and stuff. But I'd already I design them for fun. I get a kick out of making retro cards and making them new, but I don't.
Oh, true.
really
So you
collect
actually,
them.
Make
More
some
for fun.
old
Like I was just doing them digitally, and then people
Yep.
ask if I can create.
If
some
you could
ones
actually
for 'em and
print
stuff.
'em, or you ever-
I've done some for like art shows,
Yep.
but I tend to collaborate with actual legit people who print
Yep.
them themselves.
Man.
Like there's a shout out to Canvas Collectibles over in the United States. One of the dudes is really close with Steph Curry, and so he's got a connection there.
Yep.
And so I've done some designs for him, and he literally gets them signed. There's footage of like Steph Curry signing cards that I've
really?
done.
A card that you've
cool,
designed.
Yeah.
Unreal.
So we did one card design initially. It was like to look like a king, like a deck of cards, the king.
Yep.
Yeah.
And it had Steph and it had his wife Aisha
Yep.
as two, and we were initially going to go at that, but I think she had some other stuff on that sort of was like conflicting with it or something. So we ended up just going Steph for both sides of the king kind of thing or something.
Yeah.
So
I
Yeah.
love that sort of stuff, eh?
yeah, but collectibles, man, I got out of the cards just in time because it is such a slippery slope, and it's blown up again now that I could easily spend so much money in that. That I like the things on like the toys and stuff on the wall, and my kids get a kick out of it now too.
Yeah,
so.
they like it as well. They get
Yeah.
amongst
I'm
it.
just trying to figure out when I can let my son watch the Terminator.
Yeah.
Because I watched it when I was a kid. You know,
I watched number 2 last week.
Number 2 is the
fucking
best.
great
Judgment
movies all
Day,
time,
I know,
too.
it's so good,
So
eh?
good.
Robert
so good.
Patrick has to be the best bad guy. In
Oh,
history.
He's awesome, mate.
Phenomenal.
Just that
Bro, I
stone
just
cold
watched Double
still-
Dragon.
Yeah.
Double
Just
Dragon, he's a
He
bad
just has
guy.
that serious face, eh? Like you just
He's in
fucking-
he's in Die Hard 2 as well. Just randomly as like a random bad guy henchman. That's just like just a dude.
Yeah,
that's
right.
just,
Oh, true.
probably gets his neck broken or something. I don't know. He's just one of the bad guys.
Yeah, it's such a good movie, eh?
Have you tried to do what he does where he runs but without making any face? Try it next time. Next time you're on the footy
Oh,
field,
straight
just
face
run.
running.
Without sweating and dancing.
Without sweating, no
And he's
breathing.
in those movies. He is like he must be pretty quick. It looks like he's
Yeah.
boosting it. Too.
Yeah, but his whole thing was like to look. Like,
Yeah.
nothing,
Like, what
no
about the
face.
Steven Seagal compilation we come with? Hooper showed me it ages ago. There's a compilation of someone's put on
The way
YouTube of
he
Steven
runs in
Seagal.
movies, and it's like real catty.
Just
I
real
can't
Gumby,
imagine.
like-
Is he even
he's a-
capable of a facial expression?
He's just Gumby as. It's like he literally runs like a girl sort of thing. Yeah, like arms swinging around.
I think that's what the compilation's called, Steven Seagal running like a girl or something.
Have to put it
It's
up like,
funny as, yeah.
There's been some AI stuff. It's like Steven Seagal.
Yeah, the AI stuff gets me. Yeah.
Oh man, so silly.
What if we get into like the work you're doing now, and like what was the first big company that approached you, or the first sort of job that you got approached?
First serious
about?
one where you're
Yeah.
like,
First serious one was NRL was big for me. I was pretty thick with the NRL there for a number of years. But the first one I ever did was the start of every year now they come out with like the NRL calendar and the NRL like for every team, and then the NRL like diaries and stuff like just to get kids involved. Or you get your Broncos, you get your Cowboys calendar. The company that produced those calendars reached out to me and they wanted to do artwork for every team. And this is 2015, I think it was. And so this is literally, I've gone from making a couple of graphics, putting them on the internet, and that was about it, never really doing any legit stuff. And then this lady reached out and said, we want you to do all of this, and can you quote for it? And I'm like, oh, fuck.
Don't even know how to
Yeah.
quote.
Big job straight up.
Yeah, I think it was, I can't remember. It was a few grand. Like it was big for me at the time. And it was funny because the payment was coming in right around Christmas time. And it was one of those,
perfect.
but it was one of those make or break things where I was like,
Don't
if
wanna
this
quote.
doesn't come in at Christmas time,
Yep.
like Christmas is fucking cancelled. I don't think I had kids at the time. Yeah, it was like, but it was, and it all worked out. It was fine.
Yeah, good one.
But I remember it was this, but it was, that was the first one. I basically had to create artwork for all the teams. They put it in the calendar, and then following on from that, I reached out to the NRL and their social media manager at the time. They were going through some new things and they were keen to try some new stuff. And they brought me in for a couple of like it's like being an athlete, man. Like come in for a trial game,
Yep.
Yeah.
and if you're any good, we might put you in. So I did some trial graphics, and they went well. And then eventually, like from about 2016 to 2018, the NRL, like the majority of the sort of non-templated stuff, the stuff that was like more arty and stuff that you'd see on the NRL social accounts.
Yep.
The majority of that was coming from me.
Yeah, right.
For a long period of time there, yeah.
Wow.
So. And that was working with a bunch of cool guys, Reese and Cassandra, who now run Sports Design Australia. Like they've since moved on from the NRL and they've started up their own company there. So they still do a lot of work all around Australia there. But that was a big break for me starting there. And then around like in the midst of that, I got an email one day from I just got this. It was like a Sunday or one weekend. Woke up in the morning, just sort of rubbed my eyes, checked the computer. And it's, we've seen some of your work online. We'd be wondering if you'd be interested in doing some NBA graphics for our NBA video game, if you're interested.
I've seen this is
That's
crazy.
unreal.
Yeah, so I was like, okay, this seems like literally my first thought was this is some kind of scam. There's no. I was like, oh, yeah, it sounds interesting. Like I get emails like this all the time, and 9 times out of 10, it's like some chick trying to sell like some penis growth thing. Like,
I'm interested.
Yeah, it's like, hey, I got it sorted. I'm good. But yeah, so you just politely, just because you never know. I said, oh yeah, they let us know what's some more information. And he goes, oh yeah, I'm the art director for NBA 2K. This is this video game you might have heard of. I was like, fuck man. Yeah, I've heard of that one. I've been playing that since Allen Iverson was on the cover on the Dreamcast kind of thing. So I was like, okay, remain calm. How do you respond and like be, okay, maybe I'll consider it. Like, yeah. So I was like, yeah, man, I'm down for whatever. Because at the time there was this mode called, and I think it's still in there now. It's like where you create your own player and you create your own like my court, they call it.
Yes.
And so if you're a fan of the Orlando Magic, you can put a Orlando Magic mural on the wall and walk around and train and that before you go. And
Oh, that's
play a
like
game.
your training facility type thing.
Training
Oh,
facility. Yeah.
righto.
So at the time, they wanted to come up with some custom artwork that they would put on the wall, and they were considering getting multiple artists to do different styles and stuff. Mm-hmm. And at the time, they said, look, we're not sure whether we're going to get multiple or one, but can you give us a costing of whatever? So I said, I'd be keen to do them all if you want, man. Like that'll be fine. And so again, did like one graphic for them, and they loved it. And so I ended up getting to do like one for the 30 teams, and it was like 6 months work, and it was just, it was huge, but it was like I was so amped.
Kept you busy,
yeah. So
kept you driven.
How do you quote for something like that?
so that something like that, you just, this is early on too, so I was like a headless chook trying to figure this kind of stuff out. But I had some experience being a freelance graphic designer for doing other stuff. So I basically just start with like an hourly rate, and then sort of extrapolate that, and then sort of see what that figure looks like.
Rough cost, yeah.
And but for that particular one, it was like I would have fucking done that job for free just to get the opportunity.
Amazing, eh?
I wouldn't recommend that to like a lot of young people starting out, is like, because there are people that try and take advantage of people that want to work for free, but there is this sort of like ratio of being able to be aware of, well, could this lead to something?
Yeah.
Because people do prey on, the next one will be big or something.
Yeah, and you just forever sort of
Yeah. So I came up with this figure, and it seemed a little bit astronomical to me. I can't remember what it was at the time, but then I was like, okay, let's pretty much, dude. Like when you're talking about the amount of money those kind of companies make, like,
100%,
yeah. So I brought it down to something reasonable. They didn't flinch. So I was like, damn. I'll remember that next time.
should have cranked it.
Yeah. So, dude, that was 2016, and I literally just got an email yesterday. I know that we've got a Zoom chat next week to start off preliminary stuff for 2K26. And that will literally be my 10th game. So 17 to 16 works out as 10 consecutive games.
That's so cool.
So you've been with them that 10 years?
10 years. And every year, I just think it's like this, I'm riding a wave, and at some point, it's just natural. Like, oh, we're going to try something else. We're going to go that direction, but I'm just going to keep riding it.
Good on you,
That's
man.
consistent.
Yeah.
So when I haven't played, like, I haven't had a console in a good while. I haven't played any of the games. What's the stuff that you're doing?
So most of my stuff is digital mural work. So they get me to create. This probably infuriates legit spray paint mural artists, because they do this stuff legitimately on the wall. I do it on the computer to look like something that they do on the wall, and they bring it into the game, and they texture map it on the game and stuff. So when you walked, like in the most recent version of the game, they've made this whole basketball city with like a big. Think of it as Flinders Street.
Yeah.
Yep.
And the Mad Cow, instead of the Mad Cow, you've got the LeBron James building. And then, I haven't been to Flinders Street for a while. I don't know what's still there now.
I think
back when I was there,
race in that too.
Yeah. It used to be the bank or something. But yeah, so every building has like an athlete on there. And this year I did like 3 or 4 buildings, and they had a bunch of other cool artists do some other stuff as well. So it's just, cool mural art that's on buildings. And then over the years, I've done stuff like one year I had to do. They had this mode where you'd create your player, but before you could make the league, you had to be in like, it was like I think it might have been like an Asian, like you were in an Asian league or something. So I had to create 4 different logos for 4 different Asian.
Oh, yeah.
Like made up teams.
Made up teams,
start at bottom before you go to college,
Exactly,
before you go to the NBA.
So I had like, there was like the Shanghai Sharks or the...
man.
And
Just had to make
these things. I think that's a real team. But
when the game officially gets released and you buy it, are you just excited as to see the final product?
So amped. The weird
Because you
thing
wouldn't
is,
have actually
man,
seen it until you actually get the game, or?
I feel like a hypocrite though. I'm doing so much stuff that me playing the game each year is literally me getting the game. Like they send me a copy of the game, but it doesn't arrive until like a week or 2 after.
Oh, okay.
So if I want to capitalize on the social media post, the editor,
Straight away.
I still have to go to JB.
Go buy it.
Yeah.
And I've joked about, that meme where there's the dude standing in the corner and he's like, no one knows that I'm like, there's like a couple dancing. It's like I'm in JB, or I'm like, no one knows that I've worked on this.
You're at JB.
Yeah, go off and be like, give me this for free. This is my game.
Dude, I'll post stuff on social media. I'm trying TikTok. I can't. It's not working for me on TikTok. The generational gap.
TikTok sucks.
You don't buy like a sealed copy and sign it with your own
I do have one. No, but they sign it for me. So I should do that.
You should. Just put them in a box.
My kids don't give a shit. Dad's on the computer again. Dad's not paying me any
But that
attention.
feeling of first, like loading the game up, putting
It is sick. I go to the credits
just
every
looking
year.
at
Oh, my name's still there.
that'd be cool.
But literally, like, I'll do some graphics that are in the menus, and sometimes, like I said, I did the jerseys
man.
for one thing one time. They mix it up. The coolest thing I did is a couple of years ago, they had to create in the city. They wanted to create fictional, like a bodega, like a veggie store, like a.
Oh, yeah.
I think
Like
a mini mart. Yeah.
Yeah.
And like, so they said, hey, can you come up with some fictitious companies?
Yeah.
So I had, my daughter's name's Audrey. I had like Audrey's Fresh Food Market.
Sick.
That's
So that was there. And then like I had
Cool.
Oscar, my son, Oscar's Plumbing. Like just,
Yeah.
and I was just trying to Easter egg
Good
this
on
stuff
ya.
in there.
That's
I had
cool.
my wife, Tammy, I tried to have like the Tammy's massage parlor. So
Giving her hints.
it didn't make it. So
Get a background
Get in
back.
there, no. So
Oh, that's cool, man.
it's awesome.
Good
being able
on
to
ya.
have stuff in
And
there.
that's there forever now.
Yeah, and there was actually, now that I think of it, there was one we had to do, one where we had a bunch of murals and it was for different like US cities. So there was like Chicago, LA, and the LA one had like the is it Venice Beach with the Ferris wheel,
Yeah.
all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there was a big surfer mural, and I had this dude on a surfboard. I was like, nah, fuck it, man. I'll put my face on the dude.
Yes.
So my head is on this dude surfing. But it's
Give
such-
yourself long hair
yeah,
and stuff.
but it was like such
Point
like
break.
low and artistic sort of resolution that you like. It's
couldn't
a
tell.
dude. You couldn't quite make it out. But that's my ugly mug on that.
Oh,
dude.
that's
You can just go full troll if you wanted to.
Oh,
mate.
you could. But it's like, yeah, all right. Let's
Better keep it professional.
So with 2K26, are you going to put more Easter eggs in?
they're very specific about like
Yeah.
I know when I can sort of do some stuff. Yeah,
No,
yeah,
that's good.
yeah.
That's awesome.
I don't want to stir the.
You don't wanna stir the
Because you can take it all kinds of directions, man. Like I always thought like Kyrie Irving was born in Melbourne.
Yeah.
So like,
Uncle Drew.
yeah, you could do some like putting
I love the Shaquille O'Neal one. You made him look like Crocodile Dundee.
Yeah.
I love that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
With
yeah.
the Aussie.
So I met
Yeah.
Dirk Nowitzki, played for the
I see
Dallas
it.
Mavericks.
Yeah, unreal, bro. He was
So when he came,
he
I
was
was like,
phenomenal, eh?
yeah,
His
I need-
fadeaway step back every time.
He's as a tall white dude who
Yeah.
I'm known for shooting. Like
Yeah.
it's weird because I was always a Laker guy. Like I followed Shaq to the Lakers, and
Yeah.
so San Antonio and Dallas were massive rivalries for the
Yeah.
Lakers. So I wasn't really a Dirk fan like growing up.
Yeah,
'cause he
yeah.
was like giving it to the Lakers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It wasn't until he came up against Miami and took out when LeBron and all those
Yep.
guys with the Miami Heat, and they were like
Yep.
bad guys. And
Dwayne Wade. Yeah.
Dwight Dirk was almost like Luke Skywalker to like take
Yeah,
down
yeah,
the
take-
evil empire kind of thing. That's when I got on board with them.
Yep.
But anyway, I had to I made an Aussie graphic for Dirk, and it was him doing his one-legged step back, wearing pluggers and like
Oh, bullshit.
stubbies
Cool, I haven't
and
seen
a
that.
wife
That's
beater
sick.
thing. And the coolest thing is, man, my son, like I had the idea. I was like, hey, can you come out? I put all the gear on.
Yeah.
And I was standing in the front yard doing this thing in the driveway, and my son took the picture, and that's the body that I used to put Dirk's head on and paint.
Well,
and
it's
stuff.
similar size. Like he'd be what 6'7", 6'8".
Oh,
or something?
he's 7 foot. He's
Oh, he's-
7'1".
oh,
But
he's
to look at it,
huge.
we're
But that's
two,
still tall as
two
fuck.
skinny white dudes. So that was cool.
Oh, man.
And I managed to present that art to him, and he got a kick out of that, and it was cool.
That's
to see.
cool, man.
Yeah.
He was phenomenal.
It's good fun.
When you're doing these like big projects, like 6 months worth of video game stuff, what's a day look like?
A day can look. It can be all over the place because I'm while I'm working on that, I'm trying to. I give my other clients a bit of a heads up. They tend to know when I'm working in that sort of window because it's pretty much from end of February through till about July, August. There might still be some. That's pretty much non-stop 2K stuff.
Yeah.
But I still have. I have other clients that I try and do work for as well. So most of that stuff is like I'll have a Zoom call with the art director. He'll outlay the stuff that they need. And then we'll prioritize, like, because normally the game doesn't come out until September of each year, but they have like a hard deadline where they actually literally have to start
Everything
producing
done.
stuff
Yeah,
and getting it in
yeah.
there. And that's usually sort of like July-ish, I'd say. So most of the stuff needs to be completed by then. But it's like, yeah, just working through it. Find an imagery that works, getting ideas, any inspiration that they might have. But I've gotten to a point now where they're happy with what I do. They trust what I do. They just say, hey, look, we want this to be grungy, or we want this to have like a street edge, or we want this to be
Yeah.
bright.
They
and
give you a
vibrant,
sort of bit of a little
and
thing.
just go for
you
it.
just flow
and,
with it.
Yeah, and they usually nowadays it's like, yeah, that's sweet. On to the next one. Every now and then they're like, oh, we don't like that image of this guy. I've had stuff over the years. I was doing work for a college football team one time, and just stuff you don't even think of. Like there's Miles Garrett. He plays in the NFL now, but I think he's on the Cleveland Browns or something like that. I don't fully follow the NFL, but he was with the Texas A&M, was the college team he played for. And I was doing work for them for a while there. And I did this graphic, and I think he was like celebrating, he had his arms up. but there was too much underarm hair or something. So I spent my day photoshopping out the underarm hair of this dude. Like, and that's surprisingly difficult to get it like
Looking realistic.
yeah, you don't get rid of it because that looks weird. Like it's like when someone loses their eyebrows. Like, what's up with this guy? Like, something off about you. It's like just trying to get it just right. But you're like, who would think of that? Like,
back, that's
you know,
hectic.
it's like I've had to remove bulges on players. Like,
The players would have hated you.
yeah. You want the opposite, right? Like, AI will take care
Down
of
to
that,
your
man.
knees.
There'll be an AI plug-in for the bulge, extrapolator or something.
But what are you spending like 6, 8, 10 hours? Like, what's
Well, the cool thing for me is now I'm trying to approach life as a part-time worker, or sorry, like a half-time worker, purely because I'm that daddy daycare.
That's good, man. You can do the drop off and the pickup. That's probably pretty helpful for your family.
I drop the kids off. Well, like credit to my wife, man. She's a full-time school teacher.
Yeah.
Oh, awesome.
Like, and she helps out. Like
wicked.
she helps out with special needs kids at school
Yeah,
and stuff
that's
as well.
awesome.
So that's not easy stuff.
100%.
Without her doing that, and I mean, teachers could always be paid more.
Yeah.
But like, and she'll admit herself, like she's pretty comfortable with the
Yep.
with the wages they're getting nowadays.
Yep.
But she, without her holding that down, I wouldn't be able to pursue what I do because like
Well, that's like the consistent safe thing, and then you can
it's the
kind
balance.
of, yeah.
And because there's peaks and valleys, running
Yep.
your own business, there'll be weeks and months where it's just
Yeah.
fucking nonstop, and there's
Well,
other
yeah,
times where
yeah.
I'm like shit, and that's the time where I actually need to like actually okay, I'll do some stuff around the house. and
Yeah.
that. So. But yeah, generally speaking, it's like drop the kids to school, get home by 9 o'clock. I won't take a meeting until like 9 o'clock pretty much. So I'll be doing that and then just grinding out in Photoshop, trying to avoid the emails that come
And you're
in.
juggling, like you said, you'll be juggling. Sometimes you'll be working on MB2K and you're like, oh, I need a break from this, and you'll do other stuff for other clients at the
Yeah,
same time.
and for my own creativity, sometimes I like to just create my own stuff and put it
personal,
up there
yeah.
because that's how I find new clients.
Yeah.
Just a passion project,
Yeah,
create something,
yeah.
put it up there, tag a client who might be interested. They might get back to me, they might
Yeah.
not. And at the same time, I still have contract work with the NBA. So they've got their own in-house designers.
Yep.
But every now and then they'll come up with something. Oh, we want this to have a particular movie poster feel or something. Hey, let's see if Lee can do
So
that
if
for
you can do
us.
that, cool.
yeah? So a lot of these NBA things you're posting all the time, are they getting sent and used for things, or you're just, or they're just for their social media type things?
Yeah, mostly social media. Like
Yeah.
of late, a lot of the stuff that's on my account at the moment has been work related, just because I haven't had as much time to do personal stuff.
Yeah.
So a lot of it'll be like the NBA. Like I do a lot of YouTube thumbnails for the NBA. Like so, they'll do like they might say we're putting together this
That's epic.
like a 4-hour compilation of like Miami Heat championship
Yeah.
run. We need a thumbnail image for that.
Awesome.
And we want it to look like a movie poster.
Yep.
That's fucking my bread and butter.
That's
That's
cool.
what I love to do.
Easy
So.
enough. What other sorts? So you've done NBA, you've done NRL, you said.
NBA,
Some-
NRL. I did a lot
Seem
of
to-
work for the NBL back in the day.
Oh, epic. Yeah.
They were like a passion project for me because the NBL are like they're like the great Aussie battler kind of thing.
Yeah.
They don't have anywhere near the budget of the NBA,
Yep.
but they try and find creative ways to grab attention.
things look
and they
fresh.
Yeah, and they're probably allowed to get away with a little bit more Aussie larrikinism kind of
Yeah,
stuff and
awesome.
push that. So. And then off that, there's a guy that I worked up a relationship. Shout out to Mike Corbett he's from Dunk Comp, and he's starting to do some work now with a new sort of startup. A bunch of guys called Bounce Pass, which is Basketball Australia, and they're really trying to find a way to really promote. And because in the 90s, basketball in Australia was like, and a lot to do with Michael Jordan and Andrew Gaze, who
poppin'.
was Australia's
And
Michael
yeah,
Jordan. It was
yeah.
really popping, and
Yep.
then it sort of went through a lull period. And then the NBL got a new owner in the last sort of decade or so, and he's really
Picked
sort of-
up heaps,
He's
eh?
really
Yeah.
pumped it up, and it's getting back there again now. So we're trying to find ways to really capitalize on it and really keep that momentum.
Just
going.
having so many Aussies over in the NBA
That is
as
huge.
well, like it sort of that back.
Absolutely.
What do you call it?
Like-
Backlash would bloody.
When we were growing up, it was like Luke Longley.
Yeah,
Longley
yeah.
was like, and like Gaze and a couple of these other guys had a cup of coffee
Gaze
in the
come
NBA,
along.
but
Yep.
it's now there's like 15, 20 players over there,
Like your Ben
and there's more
Simmons.
coming through the college system now. So it's like a
Right,
viable.
there's still heaps more
Yeah, man.
popping.
Dude,
Always
I don't
is, eh?
even
Yeah.
wear half of these guys that are coming up.
Oh, I did see a reel the other day on a young Aussie who's carving up. I think in college. I did see something.
Yeah, there's
reel on that. I can't remember his name.
Tyrese Proctor
Yeah, right.
is one of them. But I literally just worked on a graphic for Bounce Pass yesterday, and it's like the ESPN just released their mock draft of the new big names, and there's like 5 or 6 Aussies in that list.
yeah,
and there's one dude who wasn't,
Yeah.
because they do this list every month or two
Yep.
because it changes.
Yep.
There's a dude on the number one on the, like not number one, but the top of the Australians on the list. He's like projected to go like number 25 or 30 or something. He wasn't even on the list like 2 months ago.
Yeah, right.
He's just
Just
been
coming
he's just
through.
been killing it, and he's on a bigger
Well,
stage. And
yep.
so it's just, it's good.
It's good for Australia. Eh?
Absolutely.
Have you done any mad graphics? If not, you need to for the GOAT, Paddy Mills.
Paddy Mills,
I love
bro.
Paddy.
I've done a bunch of Paddy Mills,
Yeah.
and he came to
him.
town. He comes to Townsville a fair bit, and like he's great for. He's such a good ambassador for the sport.
He's
He'll
awesome,
meet
man.
with like the young
He is
kids,
the
and
man.
and
he's
like
the man.
Yeah. So
he
I
is.
took my son along when my son was old enough to almost disrupt the whole meeting. Like we were sitting up the back because we weren't supposed to be there, but a mate of mine who was I think he might have been coaching the young kids at the time. He said, "Hey, Paddy Mills is going to be in town. If you want to do a graphic up, you should come along and get it signed or something." I was like, "Cool." I bring my son along. He's like 3 at the time. So I'm holding my son, and he's like about to have a meltdown.
Yeah.
Back in the room, just trying to like they're having a Q&A with Paddy, and it's all cordial and everything's going cool. And my son's about to blow. I'm like, oh shit! It worked out. He signed, shook my son's hand. We got a photo, and I've done a bunch of graphics for him. Like
He's awesome, eh?
I did a
Absolute
graphic for
legend.
him when I was working for the NRL in 2017. They flew me down to all 3 Origin games and the grand final. Oh, I saw. It was a 2017 Storm. That was Storm Cowboys.
Cows,
wasn't it?
yeah.
Yeah. I was there for that grand final.
Oh,
Don't talk about that.
Oh, yeah.
Dude, I was there when that.
You got to go to that.
dude broke his leg in the first felt like the first minute of the game. One of the Cowboys guys broke his leg, and it just killed the mood of the whole thing.
Corey Jensen.
Was it? I can't.
Was it Corey Jensen? Think he broke his leg?
I can't remember.
Like, maybe
I
breaking
forget
your
that
leg
game.
first, the
Oh,
start of the
no.
grand
Right,
final,
and then they-
man.
I've put that game out of my
man,
mind.
Understandable. It was
30 to
wasn't
6.
But yeah, how it's so.
Yeah.
all-
But
That's cool. And you got to go to the Origin as well.
yeah, but I'm not. I'm sort of literally like sitting in the tunnel on a computer making
Oh,
graphics.
yeah,
So I don't
yeah.
like every now and then you try, you run out there. What happened? Oh, and you come back. Yeah. But prior to one of the Origin games, we were doing this thing where they're trying to get because Paddy's a known
Sean
Maroons
Fenson.
fan. That's
Sean
it, Fenson. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That was rough, man.
Broke his leg in 2 places.
It
Who was it? Who?
Sean Fensom.
Sure, Phantom.
The
I
game
come
was-
from Canberra.
The game was stopped for felt like 20 minutes or something.
Yeah, right.
It was rough. But Paddy Mills is a big Broncos fan. I'm a Broncos fan. I was a Broncos fan before the Cowboys existed. So
Yeah,
give me
that's
that.
what,
Cowboys
yeah.
are number 2 for
Yeah,
me.
that's a lot of people.
Yeah.
Followed Broncos because there's nothing back up here.
Oh,
Yeah,
dude, that 15
only
grand final, that was
Queensland team.
conflicting. That
Yeah.
2015 grand final.
Oh, the best final of all time, bro.
That was tough. That was tough. I was happy for the Cowboys, but goddamn.
Oh, man.
But I was just going to say, like Paddy Mills, big Broncos fan, big Queensland fan. And so before the Origin, to try and get some more engagement, we'd try and target like known super fans.
Yeah, of
So
yep.
I was like photoshopping Paddy Mills' head on an Origin player.
Yeah.
In the tunnel of like Suncorp Stadium. Like,
Oh, true
crazy,
shit.
yeah.
That's sick, man.
So just surreal stuff. Because growing up a sports fan, I was a rugby league fan before I got into basketball. So they've always been my 2. And then I couldn't play rugby league because I get snapped in half.
Yeah,
Like,
I feel that.
I reckon I get an
feel
offload
that.
in there, but the rest of me would be all shattered.
How crazy is it that you like grew up watching NRL, NBA, and you do so much work? for
That's the
them
stuff that I
Like-
pinch myself. But at the same time, like there is good luck and just things breaking my way. But there's a lot of grinding
Right,
behind the
yeah,
scenes,
for
and
sure.
I'm targeting these people as well, right? Like
yeah,
when I first
you are.
created this stuff, I'm like trying to get their attention,
Yep.
like, and that is a fun thing. Every now and then, I was like, maybe what's another
Golf.
another
Gotta
sport?
golf.
Yeah.
Gotta golf.
Live golf got plenty
Ah,
of
UFC, bud. UFC.
UFC.
Yeah, bro.
Actually,
Yeah.
like,
Fuck yeah.
The trick-
Volk. Should do a Volk one.
Yeah, okay,
I'm a Volk super
This,
fan.
I'll just throw it in
every
there.
episode he
Wait,
brings
I was
UFC
waiting
up.
for your smiles. Every episode I got to bring up UFC. So I think these guys.
We'll bring
only
up
thing-
golf. We'll bring up golf.
The only thing though
golf
is
freaks.
like I feel like almost hypocritical if I'm doing a sport that I don't know much about.
Yeah, true.
Like I've done a bunch of stuff for the AFL, and like one of my great clients, and they're super fun to work with, is Geelong Cats. They always
Oh, yeah.
have their
Yeah.
social team always have these cool ideas, quirky stuff.
Yeah,
and-
cool.
But I literally like when it's basketball and rugby league, I've got so much knowledge and just insider knowledge and just growing up knowing the culture.
Yeah.
You just know what's funny and what works.
And what
Yeah.
fits.
What
sort of
fits
thing,
when
yeah.
it's a new sport and you don't know all the behind the scenes stuff. I'm completely guided by
Yeah,
them.
because
I
their
rely
fans
on them.
could have a different sort
Everything,
of-
man. Everything. Like, you don't know the history of this player. Like, he might have had a beef with this dude and they patch that beef up over this. And there's like, just,
You
I don't
feel
know any
like-
of that stuff.
yeah.
You should. I've got an idea for your next piece, though. You should do hoops and Kevy. One playing chess, one playing checkers on the same board.
I did a graphic.
One play. I'm playing chess.
I was going to say, who could dress up as a golfer? I'm going to dress up as an MMA fighter.
I'm playing chess while you're playing checkers.
Checkers.
I'm chess, your checkers, you freak.
What about you did some WWE stuff too?
Yeah, that happened late last year because I think the producers of the NBA game must have communication
righto.
with because
Yep.
2K make the WWE game, And so they were like under the pump. They needed a bunch of murals done in time. So I was like, oh, yeah, this will be sweet.
Jump on that, yeah.
But I'm not that familiar with the current thing. And I grew up with like the Stone Cold.
Attitude era.
And what was the X Pack? The stuff that you can't do anymore. I was hoping I was going to do a big mural of some dude.
That'd be the best. That'd be the fucking best.
But it was all. Who did I do? Like, there's like the Bloodline and the.
Yeah,
I wouldn't even
We've
know.
spoken about wrestling.
Yeah. I had to do a YouTube deep dive and sort of get up to speed with it. That was fun, man. So hopefully that continues into the next year. So I'll have to run out to JB and buy that game so I can see where my work is at.
Is that the most recent game? Is it?
That'll be 2K. I think it's 25. I think it'll be. Sorry, not yeah. It's WWE 2K25. I think it's 25, and that'll drop in like March. I think that's coming out. So.
And you just did the like the wall stuff for that as well.
That was I think they're doing a similar thing like they do in the NBA game.
In the locker rooms or something.
Yeah, I think there's actually a world now where you sort of. I don't know how it works out. They just said, "Hey, look, there's a big wall here. This is the dimensions. Can you create something for that?" So,
really?
Yeah. So it's cool, man. I pinch myself all the time. Like,
well, that was one of the things I literally had. What's the biggest pinch yourself moment?
it'd probably be Shaq. I think, just based on the history.
Being a childhood hero of
He was
yours.
the kid. Like,
Was he proper down to earth as he seems? Like, is he just absolute legend?
behind the scenes, he's pretty down
he's
to
just-
earth. But in the environment that I met him with, it's like there's a bunch of people lined up and they want their photo op.
Yeah.
And so you've got people getting shitty because they're probably going to miss out, and he's trying to
it's
appease
just
everyone.
a bit of
It's
tension
just-
and that kind
Yeah,
of.
it's not natural. But behind the scenes, where he gets a chance to just
To see the
chill.
video of like him giving props to a busker or something in
Yeah,
Australia and just all that stuff.
sounds
He
about
just
right,
always
yeah.
seems like a legend, eh?
But I totally understand where I sort of have. I appreciate where he's coming from though, because like I come up to him. He doesn't know who I am. He might know. He might have known I've done this graphic, but does he? Like, am I here to try and get something? You know, everyone's trying to get something, and you're like, or is it with social media now? Am I trying to make a moment that I can get him on screen doing something wrong, or
trying to catch
all that kind of stuff? It's the same as the footy players out at night, and some drunken idiot comes up and tries to fire him up. Like back in the day, if someone's been a dickhead to you in the street, you're going to get your head punched.
Yeah, 1-2 day,
And that's how it should have been.
Yep.
Like,
Yep.
if you're stupid enough to go up to some rugby league player, like you deserve to get knocked out.
Yeah.
I remember one of my mates got smashed by Thurston.
I heard of that story too. I heard a fella from Charters getting punched around from Thurston.
I had,
and Thurston
he had
was
big ears or
at his
something.
peak. That put him.
I had JT sort of step in on I mean, everyone does it when you're in a nightclub, and I was like, thought I was with a girl kind of thing. And
he cut you off.
Step in, I was like, whoa, Thurston, man. That's awesome. You take it, man. That's cool. Like, I was such, dude, I mean, it's such Carl Webb, like what happened to him was that was tragic. But I was such a fanboy of just, doesn't matter if I saw someone playing sport on television, that's like Superman to me.
Yep.
When I was working in the city for a web design company on Denham Street, I was walking to lunch one day on the way to Macca's when they said Macca's in the mall there.
Yeah.
And I think a taxi or a car pulls up, and Carl Webb hops out and he's walking along. He's in front of me. He can't see behind me. I'm like 2 feet taller than this dude.
He's a lot taller than him.
He's 6 feet wide. I mean, he's like a brick
short
shit house.
nugget,
He's a big dude. But I'm just in awe of this dude, looking at the back of his head, just walking down. Like, it's Carl Webb. And it's like, dude, he's in Townsville. People live next to him, go to barbecues with him and stuff. That's a dude I watched on the Broncos, and it's just like, oh my God. So, same as when I saw Thurston. Like, I remember seeing Matty Bowen and you see all these guys in town. I'm just like,
Yep. Same.
And you think some of these NBA players you've met, they're like 100 times more famous than an NRL
they're like
player,
Marvel
you know?
Avengers.
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
like there's Iron Man.
Like them NRL players would probably meet Shaq and Dirk and stuff and be like, you know.
Yeah, 100%.
One of the funniest ones for me was back in the day when the Crocs were still around. We had this. He was a rookie at the time, Brad Newley.
Yeah, I remember
He played
him.
for Australia. He was a fucking gun player. He was drafted by the Houston Rockets, but I think he ended up staying, or he went over to Europe or something. But he was like sensational, and the fact that the Crocs got him at the time was just he was like the best player in the league almost. He was unreal. And you know, when you're a local sports personality, you'll go to schools, or you'll go to the radio station and that. I was television shopping, like this is probably 20 years ago now, and I was almost his age, and I'm like the same build as this guy. He's a fucking phenomenal athlete, and I'm just a wannabe athlete kind of thing. But we look like quite similar. And I'm at like Retrovision or someplace trying to buy a television.
Better Electrical.
Better Electrical. And he's there doing his thing, like he's there, you know, to sponsor something. And I'm like, I'm fanboying over this dude. We're the same freaking age essentially, and he's probably like have a chat or something, and I'm just like.
Sign my new fridge I just bought.
Yeah, pretty much, man. Just flipping out. And it's like, that's where I need to check myself. Like, I need to calm down. But
Have you got better, you reckon? Like meeting famous people?
I have this thing where it's hard. Maybe it's from playing sport or something, where it's like you lock in the moment.
Yeah.
Like prior to the moment, I'm a fucking nervous wreck and anxiety and sweating and all this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But when it's go time, you sort of lock in and like
Just go with the flow.
Yeah, especially
Yeah,
if I brought this artwork and I really want the dude to like it and I want to get it signed or something.
Yep.
I sort of get
So
your game
you
face on.
You work good under pressure.
I like to. I try to avoid it at all costs, but generally that's it sucks that tends to be what happens.
That's how I got through high school.
Yeah.
Left all my assignments for the last
Yeah,
night.
yeah.
Always, eh?
When it's like a big moment like that, when it's like I'm at home and it's like, oh shit, I got to cook dinner at 6 o'clock and this graphic needs to be done, and like the kids are, it's like, that's not a fun place to be. Like I need to, and that's where you needed to check yourself. And all right, just calm down. It's not the fucking end of the world, man. Like they can wait.
There's Uber Eats too.
Yeah, I don't want to cross that bridge, man. Once I cross that bridge, it's game over. I vowed never in my life will I Uber Eats McDonald's.
Oh, yeah, damn.
I'm not judging anyone.
You've never been hungover enough.
Yeah, well, that's by choice. That's
If I
by
like Uber
choice.
Eats, I'm getting something decent.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Like, if I get to the point where I'm Uber eating McDonald's, that's where
That's a low point in life, eh?
Yeah, I need to evaluate
Hitting
some
rock
things.
bottom hoops.
No judgment, but I think
A couple of times I've been there. Boy, one super cool thing I wanted to bring up, another project of yours, the shirt you made for Tim Tszyu.
Yes, yeah, that was another. That came out of nowhere. That one, and again, I felt like because my knowledge of boxing is like stay away from Mike Tyson. Like,
Because boxing's like I've been boxing my whole life. Like that's
but like he'll fuck you up. But, like he's the baddest man on earth. But also, I don't know. But yeah, that was they just got married. Tim Tszyu and his partner. They got married recently, but. Prior to that, she reached out and she saw some of my work.
Oh yeah.
And said, "Hey, we're looking to get some shirts done because it was pretty bad. Because not bad. It was bad in the sense that he was before he'd lost any fights. He was like,
Oh yeah, it's
was it
crazy
like?
how the media turned.
Yeah.
like how the public turns.
That's
eh?
boxing in general.
22, like
Yeah, you have
22
two
and 0
losses
maybe.
already.
yeah.
People
There's
just get off the
he's
hot
still
train.
got like it's all still in front of him kind
Yeah,
of thing.
he's
It's
still
just
got
they've made it's a little bit harder.
Boxing's just such a bad sport for it. If once that O's gone,
Yeah.
they just jump
Yeah.
off the train straight away.
But that's
More
what-
so than MMA, eh?
Yeah, 100%.
when they reached out, he was still undefeated,
Yeah.
and so you could just feel the sense of like
The magnitude.
possibility
Yeah,
and,
everyone,
and money
that
and
potential,
like, things are coming around the corner. And, hey, we might be able to do some work in the future and stuff. So I was open to that, but it was like once it went down and stuff, and he lost a couple of fights, then it was like I felt bad for him.
It
Like,
sucks how that happens, eh? In that sport. Yeah.
because it's the tricky thing about boxing. A lot of sport nowadays is the promotion is such a big thing that you have to spend all your time.
Geeing it
I'm
up.
gonna
Yeah.
smash,
Geeing it up.
look at me,
It
I'm the
is,
man.
man.
This is how it
That's
goes.
how
How
it
it
goes.
goes. And then when it flips, it's like, oh, and then all that content's still there.
Yeah.
Like it's tough.
Yeah,
But
you've
that's-
made yourself out to be invincible with all this sort of, and it might not even be the talk that the boxers done themselves,
No,
but
no.
the way
media.
the
way
media,
they,
the
yeah,
promotion,
like the box, like Tim he's just old school dude
Yeah.
who just grinds and he just
Yeah.
wants to just do his thing. And like if he had a choice, I think he would just lock himself in a room, avoid all
Yeah.
that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Which
Focus
most
on
of
what
them
he's
would, eh?
doing.
But yeah, once that sort of air of invincibility's gone, yeah, the promotion does sort of lack a bit because
Yeah.
it's like, well, he's not untouchable.
And
It's
if you
not-
want to get a pay per view, you want people to come and
Yep.
you need to talk it up to
That's
because
why Floyd did so well and made so much money for so many years
That's
because
right,
everyone wanted to
whether
see him
you're-
get punched.
yeah,
and
if
he
you're a
never
heel or not.
And he
Yeah.
never did.
Yeah.
Like, you know, like
pay
so-
money to get like what was
Yep.
that Tyson thing the other day? Like you wanted to see the Paul brother get
Yeah,
beat. You were sort of
yeah.
hoping that it would
That's
sort of
what.
work
That's
out.
what.
but-
Yeah. That's what makes it.
But yeah, no, that was just another thing where they saw my work on Instagram, reached out in a DM, and yeah, we worked up some graphics there for some t-shirts and stuff.
Yeah,
so that was
cool.
cool. Like I wouldn't have predicted that. Like
get a
just,
kickback from the shirts, or
Uh,
you just,
no,
or do they just pay for the original art piece? And then,
I didn't really bother exploring commission kind of stuff. It was like, hey, I'm happy to make this is the price for the shirt,
Yeah.
and then that's it. Because
cool.
it's
That's cool.
yeah.
but yeah, they were sick shirts, and like at the time, like you say, Tim was on that rise. That would have been a big project.
Yeah, and they're the kind of things. Again, you got to shout out to like sports photographers, man. Like they do, especially like the photographers that I've worked with at the NRL are some of the best in the world. Like, and
really.
a lot of the work I can do, it comes down to just banging photos. And so a lot of those photos of Tim and that were like that. Like they would say, "This is the photo we like. Can you do something
Yeah.
like that?" I don't have to do a whole lot to it, really. I just make sure it
They've
looks
got
nice.
photos.
Yeah.
That's the baseline to it, I guess. Yeah.
So
Man, I'd be keen to see some awesome Cowboys stuff. I'm a mad Cowboys fan.
yeah.
Have you done much of Thurston?
I've got a bunch of different things over the years. I have to dig it up. Yeah, I did some caricature kind of stuff.
Yeah,
and
cool.
Yeah,
Nice.
yeah. When the new stadium came around, I did like a caricature of him with the stadium in the background. That was like, I don't even think you ever played in that stadium, right? Like,
No.
that was-
No.
Yeah.
He wouldn't have. No.
So I'll dig it up. We got some
That's
stuff
awesome.
now.
That's cool, man. Wicked.
What's This is probably a real hard question, but have you got a favorite piece of art or like a couple that really stand
Personal
out?
ones, like
Or-
ones that I've made myself. Or?
Personal ones, and then maybe like actual
Career-making
like
pieces.
The favorite one I have done, and this is so when Kobe prior to Kobe passing away, I did a series of graphics. I call it Next Gen, and it was basically current stars with their child.
Yep.
So there was a lot of, remember Bronny James is in the NBA now, LeBron's
Yeah.
son. This is when he was probably still in high school. There was a lot of talk. He's the next thing kind of
Yeah.
thing.
Yep.
So it was like a split face graphic, half LeBron's face and half his son's
Wow,
face.
that's cool.
And the two sides meshed together, so it looks, you can see the kind of thing. So I did one of him. I did one of Kobe and his daughter Gianna, because she was like
Yeah, she was a
tearing it
basketball
up.
player.
Yep.
Yeah.
This was made from the date. I think it was like I posted that November of 2019, which was like 2 months or 3 months before they passed away.
Oh, man.
So I posted that up there and on social media and got a few likes and stuff. Nothing big deal. I found out about Kobe passing away by that post blowing up.
oh yeah.
Like my daughter Audrey was like a newborn baby at the time, and so we had her in a cot next to our bed, and we'd be waking up in the morning half out of it, trying to get her
Yeah.
sorted and comfortable and stuff. I remember waking up one morning, like getting her back to sleep, pull up my phone, and just like
Blown up. Yep.
likes and things, and what the hell's here? DMs. Well, did you see what happened? And I'm like, oh, like
Man.
fucking just like everyone did,
rough.
couldn't process it, all this kind of stuff. But that post went from like, I don't know, 1,000 likes to like 20,000 likes in like a matter of whatever.
couple of hours probably. Yeah.
And then when I looked into it more, Kobe had liked that
Oh right.
picture.
Wow.
And so when I posted in November, like normally the way Instagram works, when a big account likes you, it's smart enough to know, it tells you, hey, this is a priority thing. Like this.
Oh, does it?
I think it does now. I don't know if it did back
No one
then.
likes my shit anymore. That's why.
But like if an account with like 200 followers likes you, it's just lost in the noise. But if a big account likes you, now it says priority, like you need to look at this.
yeah.
Oh, really? Yeah.
I don't think it did it back then. But at the time, I
None of
didn't,
us know.
yeah. I didn't know he liked it then. So I was like, fuck, when did he like it? Like, it could have been whenever. But anyway, I took a screenshot of the graphic with the little heart, and it says, liked by Kobe Bryant and like 19,063 others, whatever it is. And I've got that printed up on like a little plaque on my desk.
That's cool, man.
Just to like, because it's heavy, but it's also a reminder of like, look what social media can do, man. Like, I'm just a dude in Townsville sitting on the computer,
Yep.
just making these silly little pictures.
And you had a little interaction with a
But
superstar.
a father with a daughter has seen that, and
Yeah.
it meant something to him. So he's liked that.
Yeah.
20,000 people have liked it, and that was the graphic that people were ripping off and putting on T-shirts. I ended up uploading a high-res version on my Dropbox and just putting a link out there and saying, "Hey,
Anyone?
Take it.
if people
Oh,
wanted to
that's
buy it
cool.
off me," I was
Yeah,
like, "Dude, I don't want to make money
Off
off this dude dying."
Of this
Like,
unfortunate
fuck that.
circumstance, yeah.
If you want to, because people like there was a high school student in the US who took that and made a big mural of it for their high school because they lived up the road from the Lakers training facility and they were all mourning and stuff. So I was like, let's just do that. So yeah, just from posting an image on social media, that's where all this has come from. I joke, man. Like I met my wife on MySpace.
Yep.
My entire professional career has been designing websites, graphics for social media, like everything. We order pizza online. Everything. It's like without the internet, man.
You'd have nothing. You'd have nothing.
Yeah,
We're
I'm a
fucked.
bricklayer.
That's crazy to think of going back to ringing up. What's the score? What's the score?
Exactly.
To now,
Yeah.
That's cool as fuck.
literally, your
We're
whole
spoiled
life.
now, man. We are absolutely
We're
spoiled.
all
Literally
It's-
everything you need is here.
Yeah,
Proper.
and that's why you hear there's a lot of talk now about NBA ratings going down and this going up and this, and then, it's because the game's changed and no one wants to watch it. I don't know if that's what it is. I think there's just so many forms of entertainment now, so many distractions. Netflix, you can have anything you want in your pocket whenever.
Yeah.
How can you find the time to sit down and just focus on one thing? It's impossible to
Yeah,
do.
yep.
When
It's
we
too
were
many
kids
options.
growing up, you get one NBA game on TV,
Yeah.
tape delay on a Saturday. You make a
Proper.
time to
Yeah.
watch it.
I know.
I'd be mowing out Oak Valley. I was like,
Yeah.
fuck, You can't watch that NBA until you've done the Marlon thing.
Just running with it.
Wake up too early for Cheese TV and you're watching
Yeah,
aerobics.
you're missing it. Yeah. When you wake up too
No
early.
option, yeah. Do fucking
But
watch whatever.
I was too
Four
late.
channels. I had 4 channels, bud. This is fuck.
I was too late to realise by the time that Oz Aerobics was a good thing that I should have been wanting to So like, damn, like cancel that. Damn. Then it's back to the page 3 girl in the sun or something.
Is there anything you're like currently working on?
What am I working on at the moment? I am doing some stuff for the Cronulla Sharks,
Oh, cool.
but I'm not sure if I can say
Yeah,
what
yeah,
it
no,
is.
yeah.
No.
That's pretty exciting. That's exciting. Yeah, I'll leave it at
Yeah,
that.
yeah, that's cool, man.
I got another meeting with 2K next week, so that'll be doing some stuff there. And yeah, doing a lot of stuff helping out the check out what was it Bounce Pass on social
That's what
media.
I'm saying.
Pass.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah, they're
All Aussie basketball.
yeah, so their website is literally basketball.com.au, and then the social aspect of that is Bounce Pass Australia, and that's just trying to like bring some fans across and sort of connect with things that are happening at the time. So doing some stuff to help those guys out. And yeah, I got other little bits and pieces. I've actually had a friend from high school reach out. Her nephew, I think, is potentially going to play for the Roosters this year.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so I don't know if it's a secret or anything, but I'll
Yeah,
just,
yeah.
I'm not sure.
Not
But
anymore.
Yeah, but I'm just doing some artwork for them potentially because I think they might want to do some T-shirts up or something
Awesome.
like that. Maybe if
Cool.
like when he makes his
We
debut.
need to get
So
T-shirts soon. We were talking about it the other
we
day.
can do some caricatures. Send us some
Real
photos,
big
man.
head for
cool.
Kev.
That's my specialty.
Little bulge for him. Reduce his bulge.
That's all I got to do.
Enlarge his bulge, actually.
Well, I've got the tools. Got the tools today. Yeah, get on the tools.
We sort of touched on it before, but if there's like something you haven't done yet, what would be a project or a company or something you'd really enjoy doing in the future, or something you might target, you reckon?
I'd love to work with like Jordan Brand.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
What that would be exactly? I did a mural for 2K. There was a cover where I think Jordan was the legend version. I think it was 2K 23 Jordan.
Oh, epic. Yep.
And apparently they said that the artwork I do had to be run by Jordan. Like had to be.
Like he had to give the
be
approval.
given a thumbs up.
Oh,
So
yeah.
Shit.
if I take them for their word, Michael Jordan saw my artwork, liked it, and that was it.
That's
So
pretty cool, man.
chances are he had nothing to do with it, and he had a representative come.
Yeah.
But that's the same as Shaq's social media account. I don't think Shaq is literally sitting there all the time. He might have
Look at
access to it, but I know for a fact he has a dude who manages
Yeah.
it. So, but in my mind, Michael Jordan looked at my work and goes, yeah, that guy's fucking sweet. Like,
That's what I tell myself,
that's
bro.
it. So, but if I could like literally do that kind of like something like that, I don't know whether it's a shoe design because I don't have any. I have a bunch of shoes, but I don't have experience designing them, so that's not really.
He's in the golf space now too.
He's in the golf.
He's
He's been
golf bags.
Dude, he started the golf space, really. Like when Jordan was playing golf, like between playoff games back in the day, like he made it cool for.
Yeah, how
athletes.
crazy are some of them stories? Like him playing, they reckon he'd bet big money.
Yeah.
He'd play 18 holes, lose, so he'd play another back-to-back 18
And he was hungover.
just to get his money back, hungover, drinking and smoking while he's doing
Yeah.
it, smoking cigars, and then he'd go play a game.
He'd go and drop
that
50 on
night.
Charles
Tear
Barkley or
up.
something.
And absolutely
Yeah.
tear
So
up.
like playing 27, 36
competitive.
holes of golf
Yeah.
is
Absolute
so
beast,
hard.
I'm
That-
fucked after 18. So
Yeah.
But also, imagine having social media back then.
I know.
Yeah.
Like he would have been cancelled. He would have done something.
This
Something
shit.
would be on camera. Oh, and you don't get to be.
Yeah.
Like,
I
That's a-
seen
that's
him
a lot
out
of
here
sports,
playing
man.
golf.
Imagine
He's
a bit
not
like
taking,
Rodman.
you know,
Yeah, that's what they be saying.
not
he
taking
seems to be
serious.
beyond cancellation.
He's above that, eh?
But I don't know if you would have seen it. We had a mate on.
I saw that clip. Yeah, he's
When
talking about-
when he met him.
He met him, yeah.
That's one of the
Bloody
best
hell.
stories I've
That's
ever
wild.
heard.
Like,
Yeah.
it sounds exactly how he is. Eh? Who's your favourite NBA player of all time?
So that's tricky. By default, you'd sort of have to say Shaq because that's what got me.
That's what
into
you-
it.
yeah.
But I mean, as I grew up, just as I was getting into basketball was when Michael Jordan was just starting to come back. So
Yeah, okay.
I had a year as like Shaq was my guy, and then
Yep.
I'd heard about Jordan through the cards I was collecting, and just the sheer hype of he sent out
Bulls.
the "I'm back" in the Bulls. That was like you
come back.
just couldn't escape it. And
Did
so
they?
I think Jordan is up there,
Yep.
and then because I've done so much work and work closely with the league now, I've found that I've become more of a fan of the league itself.
Yep.
And the same with the NRL. Like the Broncos are still my team, but I never thought I'd be in a situation where I'd be creating graphics for the New South Wales Blues.
Pretty crazy, yeah.
Which is
Just
like,
make them
Just
real
on
shit
purpose,
ones.
do it shit on purpose.
Blues, it sucked. It's like some of my best stuff was for the Blues. I was like, fuck, man. Like these colours just work really well together. It's like,
A little dick in the bottom corner or something.
well, they are, Dick. No,
No, that's cool, but I get
yeah,
it.
it's
I get
tricky
it.
now.
Yeah.
And but, like, dude, like Luka Doncic was essentially now he was my favorite player at the moment,
Running
and he's
the
just
mark,
been
eh?
traded.
He
To
just
my
went to
favorite
the
team.
He just went to the Lakers.
Like, fucking wrap your head around
But
that.
who did they get? Like Anthony Davis or something?
Yeah,
What a weird
yeah,
trade, bro.
Yeah, it's bizarre. So it's like you can't follow a team anymore now. You sort of
Because they're swapping and
I feel
changing.
like
jump
with
around.
them
Who's it?
American sports, a lot of people follow players as opposed
I
to
think so.
teams.
They do,
Yeah.
yeah.
Like
yeah.
NFL and NBA. and
Unless-
stuff.
Player right now, I don't follow it as much. Who's the most dominant player right now?
dominant right
Yeah.
now is Joker.
Yeah, that big mad
Because
bastard.
I don't follow it as
Yeah.
much in the recent years.
Yeah,
eh?
like he's
Someone
great.
said Tatum's pretty good too. Or
Well,
something?
they're the defending champions.
Yeah, too.
So
Yeah,
yeah,
okay.
yeah.
Yeah.
There's some history there. Like the Lakers passed on Tatum, they could have got him. They chose Lonzo Ball instead.
Oh,
which
yeah, true.
You could at the time you probably could have justified it, but it's you know looking back you're like, damn man, missed one
Hindsight's
there.
Yeah.
Big
Hindsight.
thing though.
Yep.
So yeah, Joker's up there, but
Such
yeah.
a hectic sport, man. Such an insane
Dude,
sport.
I get like a lot of people now. You get more content and more enjoyment out of what happens off the court, the trades, the off season, just
Yep.
the hype about that than what's actually happening on the court.
Yeah,
it's funny.
yeah.
How that,
It's a big
how
lead
that
up to
goes
it, eh?
down. Yeah, and that's people make money off of that now, just the talking it up, and it drives me insane now. Like I've been a basketball head for almost 30 years now, and just all the younger people that are coming through, and just all the comments that you can just tell they don't watch the game, or they don't,
Yeah.
They've watched for
just
3
saying-
seasons
just,
or
or just
something.
regurgitating the dumb
Other
shit that
other
you see on
people
the
said.
ESPN. You're like,
Yep.
dude, come on now.
Get you
I've had
out.
people, I'll post something, you don't work for 2K. And I'm like, I don't, okay.
Good, thanks.
Like, who's worse, that person or me going, yeah, I do?
Yeah,
Yeah, I'll show you. Look what I like.
Yeah, there's no
There's
point
always
arguing
trolls,
with
eh? There's
it.
always
It's
fucking-
probably
So-
some
But why would they try?
9-year-old
Yeah.
Like-
still at home.
But the funniest thing is now, like, because the algorithms change so much content that would have gotten thousands of like a couple of years ago just sits there and just is like its echo chamber. No one comes around anymore. But anytime there's something, like I posted a bunch of graphics that I did for 2K, which was like they said to me, hey, we want you to do a bunch of rivals. So these will just be banners that have like 2 players that we think are rivals. I don't necessarily think that they're rivals, but
That's
like,
what they want.
Yeah, like Magic and Bird, that's a rivalry.
Yeah,
Like they went
yeah.
to the finals multiple times.
Yeah, they're both so good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then there's some other ones that were like contemporaries, not
Yeah.
necessarily rivals. But anyway, we made the rivals graphics, put them up there, and this got like it's on my 60,000 likes
Yep.
just because.
I don't get the algorithm and that
But
stuff.
the
I
only
don't
reason that
really-
works is
really-
because it's just some content that like makes people go, oh, they're not
Well,
rivals. What the
because
fuck?
it's like
Opinion.
You don't know what you're talking
It's a bit
about.
more
It's-
divisive.
It's
sort of
divisive.
thing.
Click-
Yeah.
Anything
Exactly.
opinionated.
100%.
Wait,
clickbait.
while you're there, who is the best rivalry of all time, you reckon?
In across sport or in basketball?
Basketball, just NBA.
What teams or play or
Well,
like
that's
individuals?
Lakers, Celtics is the greatest basketball rivalry.
Rivalry, yep.
As far as if we're not talking Crocs type pants. No. Oh, no, that's
Whole different status.
And then you can
Cowboys,
break it,
Broncos,
and then
no.
you can break it down from there. I mean, that goes back to like Cousy, Bill Russell versus like Jerry West and Chamberlain and like all these guys back
Yeah.
then, way back then, up until like where you had the
Because who's it been in modern years?
Magic.
It'd be like
Magic. So in
LeBron versus Curry or something when they had that.
That
was a
I
pretty.
feel like that's a rivalry, but if
When
you
it was
look
the
at my
Cavs versus Golden
Instagram
State?
comments, that's not a rivalry. LeBron's fucking head and shoulder, like just
Yeah,
like,
okay. Yeah.
So, but also in America, it depends where you're. If you're like if you grew up in a like say you're OKC for well maybe not OKC because they stole their franchise from Seattle, like the Seattle Supersonics.
How cool was
Yeah.
Supersonics?
Yeah.
too?
Yeah.
But if you're in a small town and you have an NBA team, chances are that is going to be your team. Dallas is a good example of this, and this is why they just lost Luka Doncic.
Yep.
And they are furious. Like there are dudes over there who name their children Luka.
Yeah.
Because
Mate,
they live in that city. Yeah.
That's their team.
Yeah.
Like because
Yeah.
Dallas is
I-
is a football Dallas football like
Yep.
the Dallas Cowboys. But that team like with Dirk and stuff, they grew like a grassroots supporting thing. And yeah, they just like this new dude comes and just trades away their best player. They're furious.
I was
man.
actually spun it like when I travelled America and that I noticed that people go for teams where they're from.
That's right.
Where I was like, that makes so much sense. In Australia, like my mate from Charters Towers never left Queensland, goes for Newcastle Knights. It's like here in Townsville, they just pick a team. Oh, it's a blue colour. I like that. I'll
But
go.
you might find,
You know, like over there, where you're from is where you go from.
But that's true, especially in those like grassroots towns. Because a lot of those guys have college teams. that they support. And sometimes they support their college much bigger than the
100% they do. They do. Yeah.
But your
it's
mate
huge.
from, was it Charterstown?
Yeah.
You might find that he was supporting them prior to the Cowboys.
Well, he was supporting because he loved Joey Johns.
Well, there you go.
And sometimes the players, obviously
absolutely.
players win teams. They win people over for the teams.
He was a good player.
Yeah.
But just imagine like 20, maybe say like 2006, like JT hasn't won a championship with us yet, but he's clearly he's headed for greatness, just killing it.
Yep.
Imagine the Cowboys bring in some new dude and they're like, no, we don't like JT, let's piss him off. And let's bring in Laurie Daly.
Yeah.
Well, like,
Some
maybe
old,
not like
someone who's on the end of their career.
someone
you're
who was
right. 'Cause
great.
Anthony Davis is probably on the tail
He's
end.
still got a couple of years left, but Luca's got 10 years left at least.
Right. It'd be pretty infuriating.
But someone that's also connected to the community. Everyone fucking loves this guy,
Yeah.
and you just trade him off. Like, what are you thinking?
Yeah,
what do you think?
I know.
That is why you're getting this dude's getting death threats now. Like for real. He's so.
Oh, well, we're leading to the guest questions.
Yeah. Oh, I want to ask something first that will be controversial. We love the Not your favourite, but who's the top 5 best then? Because this is always controversial. Eh?
Are we talking? What are we talking? Basketball,
Yeah.
NBA. Top, not my favorite, but
Not
top
your
5
favourite,
best.
but the ones who you think are actually the best.
in order.
Because this is
Okay.
always like controversial.
Okay, Jordan's number 1.
Yep.
Like-
Jordan 1 over LeBron.
He's like for sure.
Yep.
I was always default, like not even bringing LeBron into the conversation here. But after his career of work, the amount of work,
Longevity.
and he's played for so long, he's got the stats to back it up. Jordan's biggest thing was he was 6 for 6 in the NBA Finals.
That's insane.
He was just a bad motherfucker. Like people were literally scared of this guy. Like he could mentally get you out of the game before the game had started. So he's up there.
Yeah.
I'm willing to put LeBron at number 2 now.
Yep.
Just based on everything he's done. I was talking to my brother the other day. If for some reason I can't see it happening, but if LeBron and Luka team up and somehow go on some crazy run this year and win it this year,
Pretty cool story.
like that's another feather in the cap. That would be like, wow, okay, I would still put Jordan there, but I'm open to at least sort of entertaining that conversation.
Yeah.
But for me, number 2, LeBron. I understand people that grew up LeBron, like 20-year-olds, 25-year-olds, even 30-year-olds now that put LeBron number 1. I understand where they're coming from.
But they didn't get
But
that era. They didn't
just
live
don't
through
know.
that era.
I don't blame them. They don't know. That's okay.
You can have them there, but you
Yeah.
don't know shit.
From then on, I still got to pay respect to like Kareem,
Yeah.
based on the same
Statistics, he
statistical
was-
argument. I put him at number 3.
Yep.
And then it gets fucking hard, man. Like
4 and 5.
like between Larry Bird, Magic Johnson, Kobe Bryant,
Kobe, Kevin Durant.
he doesn't have the championships to put him up there. Like Shaq's my guy, but he gets punished because he was so dominant. If he had Kobe's mentality, he could have been the greatest of all time.
Yeah.
Like if he had that Mamba mentality, like Shaq's a party guy. Like
Yeah,
he would lock in and do what he needed to do to win those championships,
yep.
but he could have done a lot more. So from then on, no matter what I say, it's wrong
Yeah,
from
it's
here
all
on in.
sort of
So
tied up. Yeah.
Oh.
yeah, and there's
Our top
dudes,
three is
there's
good
dudes
enough.
I'm missing. I just for the culture, I'd put Kobe's in there now.
Yeah.
I love Kobe, but there is an element of like Kurt Cobain to him in the fact that like after his passing, like, I wish Kobe was still here, but that legend is solidified now.
Yeah.
It gets a bit glorified. I get what you're
Yeah,
saying.
and you can imagine in the future, like, you know, the kids walk around wearing like Nirvana shirts now.
Yeah.
Like they couldn't name a Nirvana song. There's a little bit of that kind of thing, but like I'm happy he deserves the respect, and I think his standing in history is only going to go higher as years pass based on that. Because he was a compelling athlete. It just sucks that we lost him. But there's some others there.
Yeah,
but
all right. One more question before we do the guest questions. Who was your top pick team in NBA Jam?
Classic.
Super Nintendo NBA Jam. I got mine.
This is a loaded question because like Jordan wasn't in it, right?
Nah. I think they made a arcade version where they put the top dogs in it, but in the console
In the one that we
version,
got,
they
I
never
still used to
had
go to the Bulls because Scottie Pippen was still
Yeah.
ranked super
And they
high,
had
and I was
Grant-
always bummed that my
Grant,
version never had Shaq on the Magic.
Yeah.
He just wasn't there, so I used to just alternate between between the Bulls, Magic. There was another team. I think I used to use the Golden State Warriors back then because I'm pretty sure they had Tim Hardaway and Chris Mullin. So you had the crossovers and you had the shooting and stuff. But
no,
yeah.
I'd pick the Hornets. Charlotte Hornets.
Of course, yeah.
Charlotte
yeah,
Hornets
yeah.
were good.
That's who I-
Or the Supersonics, just because they had Sean Kemp and he could dunk
Yeah.
like a motherfucker.
Kemp and Payton that's a good.
Yeah.
The best dunker of all time. One more question.
Sean Kemp.
Vince Carter. I'm going.
Yeah, no, Vince Carter.
Vince
Vince Carter. Any way you slice it.
Wait, best dunk of all time. Him jumping over the Frenchman.
360 windmill. At the
Oh,
dunk comp when he won
yeah, that was good. Through the legs.
Dude, you've got there's no wrong answer. But my favorite Vince Carter dunk is against the Indiana Pacers. He's in the corner, like corner 3, and he fakes, drives in baseline. He comes up, 2-hand backwards, double clutches, and dunks on a dude.
Man, he's
In game, to do that in game. Like,
in
how
game.
That's why that one where he
yeah,
jumps
like,
over that
just-
Frenchman and he's like 7 foot tall, posterized over the top.
That, no one can do. That's ridiculous. But
Oh,
like,
that is
there is
insane.
still an aesthetic element that I like about these other dunks.
Yeah,
like
'cause
that. Like
they visually-
technically, like
'cause they
that dude's
visually
7'2"
look
and he
sick.
jumped over him. Like
Yeah,
that is
yeah.
the best dunk.
I know, like how does he do it,
Yeah.
bro? Like that spring is insane.
What made that? If you
man.
actually watch that clip, if you can find the full video and go back 10 seconds prior, that I'm pretty sure that comes off like a steal or something. I think they're bringing the
Yeah.
ball up and there's like a turnover of possession, and so it's like you can actually see the momentum
transition,
shift.
fast transition, and then
it just adds to them.
KG after it. Him
Yeah, just shoving it and you're like,
Oh
like,
man, I've watched
KG's
that dunk about 1,000 times, bro.
KG is like the ultimate hype man.
He is,
Like,
yeah.
I need him. Like that's. I always think that's probably why I never
that.
quite eventuated as the basketballer I should have been. Like I've got some of the skills. I'm a pretty good shooter,
Yep.
but I'm just a bit timid.
Yeah, not that mongrel.
I
like
need
that
the
full-
dude, like my younger brother, he had the same skills as me, but he's like, because we used to just give it to him playing basketball, and like he had that younger
Rough.
brother.
Yeah, yeah.
I never had that. I was the older brother.
You
Like,
didn't need it.
That's what sets a lot. Like,
Yeah.
you can have skill, but what sets the elite or like even good or, you know,
100%.
Yeah.
that having that bit of
mentality.
mongrel, that
I
mentality,
just
being a
never
bit
had that.
crazy.
Hey,
eh?
if someone, like, if we're playing a game, I get smacked in the face, I'll momentarily have it. Like,
Yep.
for the next possession, I'll probably drive it in or
Yep,
something.
yep.
But apart
And
from that, like, we'll play
Just
against.
fun, eh? Just a fun
We'll
game,
play
yeah.
against younger guys and stuff, and there's an element of me that just takes it a little bit easy on
Yeah,
them.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Nah, because you're wiser.
Maybe. I don't want to get shown up by the young fellas. That's probably what it is. But,
Trying hard and then getting
Yeah.
showed up.
All right, we'll get into the guest questions and wrap it up. This first
one
one's
we've talked
probably
about.
been
Favorite
favorite ever
athlete.
athlete, Big Shaq,
let me
Big Kazam.
Oh, you can talk about someone who's not. And
Let
not
me
NBA.
give Darren Lockyer some
Yeah,
respect.
yeah,
I mean,
boy,
like,
that's right.
he is my goat. We used to joke, oh, he's my dad. Darren Lockyer's my dad. Yeah, like,
No,
he's my guy.
Legend of
I had a
his
friend of mine, I'm not going to go into it, but I had a friend of mine who used to run Rhino Bar,
Yeah.
which was in the city like 20
It's
years ago.
Grilled now.
It's what Grilled is now.
Yeah.
He used to run that.
It's where Grilled is. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
he
My mate
found-
Singer used to work there.
when he heard that I was like a Locky fan, he goes, I've seen him on the piss. I've seen some. I was like, but I want to hear it.
Yeah, don't ruin it
I
for
don't
me.
want to hear it, mate. Don't want to. He's like, I was like, no, don't want to hear it. Bro.
He's a
I do
legend,
not
he
believe it. He's the greatest. He's the fucking greatest.
Man, just the way he went from full, like, people
Fullback.
forget how good he was at fullback
Yep.
because he went to 5'8" and it was just like he was the best ever there.
That
it's
instant
no
just
arguments.
like-
No
intercept
arguments.
You
try
know?
to win the Origin. I think it was.
Oh, he had that. There was
Intercept try right on the line.
Was
They
a
dropped
fumble?
it.
Yeah, they were-
he
yeah.
worked it up,
To win the game
He
three.
that's what made him a great 5'8", is he had the nose for the ball,
Yep.
so to speak, from playing fullback. Playing fullback, you got to know where to be, where the ball's going to go. You bring
Yep.
that skill set along to the 5'8" as well. Like he's just best of both worlds.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, he's the goat for me. I like Thurston's number 2 for me. Lockyer's number 1. If we could just somehow pluck like 2000 Lockyer and put him on the current Broncos team,
Yeah, he is needed.
forget about it. Like
He's needed.
Especially,
Ben Hunt's back though; he'll sort us out.
Hopefully,
I rate him,
drops
mate.
again.
He's still playing such good footy, man.
I love-
Poor fellow will never let it down. for
I love
2015,
what,
but he is a phenomenal
I
football
loved him
player.
in 2015.
He'll never let it
Grand
down,
final.
but he's been playing the last 5 years. Been
Oh,
playing,
yeah.
in Origin, he runs amok, bro.
He's a good
and
player.
he'll just never let that moment down. It's just kind of sad.
Poor
That sucked. That knock on
He's so
sucked,
good defensively,
but
eh? He's-
There's a lot that led up to that play. Like that's not the. It's like when you miss the game-winning shot. You didn't lose the game. Your team
Exactly.
put you in that
Yeah.
situation. to not
Exactly.
win that
You can't
game.
blame it on that one.
That's
moment.
right.
Exactly right. Yeah.
All right. If you could only eat one type of food for the rest of your life, what would it be?
All right, so is this to like prolong your life? Is this like the smart thing to eat or the thing that you love?
We've had some
usually say-
shit
we've had
answers
some
that aren't going to prolong your
Whatever,
life.
yeah. Whatever you reckon.
It'd be your last meal on death.
I'll just go straight up. I'm just going to go Mexican food
Yeah, good
because I
choice.
fucking love avocado.
Yep.
Avocado is good for you, and I can find multiple ways to eat avocado.
Yep.
And I can, even though Mexican food will taste the same, at least the way I make it, I can mix it up a little bit.
I love Mexican
So
so
my
much.
family and I, we love Mexican food, so we could
So
get
do we.
by on that.
Yeah.
So do we. We do it at least once a week.
Yeah.
Man,
Fucking
so-
love it, bro. Yeah.
What's the most awkward or shittest situation you've been in?
Actually, when we were talking before the show, one of you guys mentioned something, and I didn't remember. It made me think about an awkward situation. It's totally escaped me, but
Yeah,
come back to it.
That happens all the time, man. It's,
But
it's
there
an
was-
awkward one for people to think of.
Yeah, when you're on the spot.
Yeah.
Like you didn't fart when you shook Shaq's hand. You just squeezed the life out of him.
Or I did a really piss weak fart. It didn't impress him enough. Like,
Real feminine.
nah, I had something, but it's escaped me. I will say there was one with all the floods that have happened. It sounds like silly to talk about Ingham at the moment because they're going through some shit.
Yep.
But there was one Christmas where we had a holiday booked in Mission Beach, like a big holiday house.
Yep.
This is like 2010, 2011.
Yes.
And my family and everyone head down there prior to us. It might have been before Yasi. It might have been another wet season. My family, my brothers and stuff, they'd all head down there with their partners, whatever. They were all set up. And we were staying back here. We were going to go the day later. And we were about half an hour late where we got caught up in Ingham and Ingham flooded. So we were panicking, man. We were freaking out. Like let's go into this hotel. We'll stay here. The water was coming up in the hotel. They kicked us out of the hotel. And so a year later, that hotel, like the sign blew away. Like, yeah, fuck you. That's what you get. But it turns out my mother-in-law knew a friend who had like a farm that was high up, and they looked after us and stuff. And we stayed there. But we were stranded there for like three days or something. But it was such awkward's probably not the right word. Like these guys off their own back looked after us.
Yep.
But we missed out on I think it was like Christmas. It was the year where LeBron went to Miami that first year.
yeah.
And so the big Christmas game was those two playing each other.
Yep.
And my brothers and I, we're such basketball heads. We just get on the drink and just watch the game and
amongst it.
talk shit and stuff.
Yep.
And we missed that.
The farmers
game.
didn't have a TV.
No, there's like wine. No, we managed to watch the game, but it's like, again, it sounds petty to talk about this when like that fucking.
Well,
England's
it's
underwater
appropriate
at the
story
moment.
for right now.
But at the
Fucking
time,
hectic.
that was a pretty shitty situation.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
I'm blessed for that to be the shittiest situation.
Yeah,
ever.
yeah.
True,
Let's
man.
put it that way.
True,
Let's put it
good
that
way
way.
to
think about it.
That story's appropriate in current times too, man.
Yeah.
Like
Oh,
it's
man,
very
that's
fitting with how
crazy. Yeah.
fucked up they've been flooded. What's something
Unbelievable.
you're not
Not-
good at?
There's a lot of things I'm not good at, but drawing. No,
That's
literally,
still crazy to me,
Literally not
man.
good at
Like,
drawing.
that's
yeah,
nuts.
yeah,
That'll
yeah.
do. And then what's something you're good at that no one realizes? Something you're really good at, like a hidden talent.
It's hard to say what a hidden talent is without sounding like an egotistical.
Yeah, I know. It's pretty. You're right.
You play a bit of guitar?
I've
Well,
got
I've seen one.
I got the
photo,
bass. I've
yeah.
been trying, but I need to get back to that.
Yeah.
Is your son better than you?
Absolutely, absolutely.
He looks like a rock star.
He knows what he's doing. Like I'm fucking proud of his guitar playing. Let's put it that way.
That's
Like
cool.
he's really good. I wish I could say playing the bass is a hidden talent, but no.
Slapping the
I
bass.
think
Maybe
I know
next
what
time.
your hidden talent is.
What's that?
He had to ask you something, actually. I forgot.
I saw your post.
Yeah.
I think it was your 10-year anniversary, and you and your missus' wedding dance.
Ah, yeah.
Cut the dance floor up pretty good.
My wife was a dancer back in the day, so let's give her credit for her teaching skills. But after a few drinks, I like to think I'm a pretty good dancer. But that was literally the last time I
Same.
danced. And
So what did she teach you? A big routine, and at your wedding,
I said, look, I'm down for it as long as we can break into a funky fun dance
that's
that
what
had
was cool
the
about
Cool
it.
and the Gang
Yeah.
kind of thing. Yeah. Because we're big Pulp Fiction fans, so we had like a bit of a theme with that in the wedding. So there was
sick.
that. I'd say that, and I've gotten good at cooking over the years, so I take pride in cooking. Like I actually get a thrill out of it's a good relaxing
Yeah,
thing.
I like
out of
cooking.
just to,
If you have time, I love cooking.
yeah,
If
trying
you're
to find
rushing-
ways and things to
Yeah.
get away from the computer.
Yeah.
Actually, just like putting the tunes on, having
Yeah.
a drink, and cooking
Yeah.
something's good fun. So I think I'm pretty all right at that. And not gonna lie, I'm a pretty banging 3-point shooter. Like,
Fuck yeah.
that's what I've always been good at. So yeah, but that's not really a hidden skill. Like
Yeah.
it is hidden because now, like again, I'm 40. This year is my 20th year playing for this team that we're on, 20 years. And so every there's another. We've gone through multiple generations of young kids.
You just got to show them every year. You show them.
I try to, but I just the kids now are watching Steph Curry. They're like, what was good 3-point shooting years ago is just nothing. Now,
The game has changed. The game has changed so much.
Like we'll be playing against other dudes our age, and they'll bring their son along who's like 18, about to make some team, and you just can't leave them open. They'll just jack it.
They're
from
just shooting
halfway.
from back.
So so I think I'm a good 3-point shooter, but
a new era.
ratio-wise, it's different. It's different. So.
Favorite album or any current artists that you're pumping?
So I'm like a more of a older rock, like 90s grunge and like older rock music and stuff. But the Chili Peppers have always been my favorite band. Blood Sugar Sex Magic is hard to get past. Although I'm one of the few that think By the Way. I'm not sure how familiar you are with the Chili Peppers at all, but By the Way is probably their best album in my opinion. REM is another band I really dig.
Yeah.
But then newer stuff, like just whatever comes up on my Spotify recommends.
Yep.
There is a bunch of new things I look at. I just always go back to the old stuff. I'm doing a disservice to my son though. Like it's good for his guitar playing. Like he loves a lot of the old stuff. Like he'll be just busting out Sabbath and stuff.
Awesome.
And so he gets some nods from the older generation.
Yeah.
But in the schoolyard, he doesn't know shit about any of these new bands.
Oh, really?
To the point where
he's up to do with the classics.
Yeah, but to the point where like I'm like, oh, that's cool, but it's like, no, that's actually you don't want.
And it wouldn't be impressing.
You don't want him to be socially awkward at school when he doesn't know who like who the fuck I couldn't tell you.
What do they play?
Imagine Dragons or something? Is that even that's 10 years
Just
old?
playing mumble rap riffs.
Yeah. I do have this funny video of him back in like we used to have basketball shoot-arounds on Sundays where we just basically jump a school at any fence, jump a fence at any
Catch
school,
up and just
put the speaker on, and start playing. So there'd be like Kendrick
miss that
Lamar
shit,
playing and stuff.
Yeah.
So my brother, my son used to tell me to sit down and be humble all the time.
Yes.
But there's this video. He's like 2 years old. And he's like, sit down, be humble. Like, what did you say?
Not even saying it right.
Not even saying it right. So, but yeah, no, I like the older music. I think. Yeah.
Awesome.
I wish I could name a newer one, but
I'm much the same. I listen to mostly all.
I am open to it though. If someone says, "Hey, there's this new track, it's a banger," like,
Give it a
cool.
shot.
Like someone put me on to, and again, this guy might be 10 years old, 15 years old. Is it Kid Cudi?
Oh, I love him. That Man on the Moon album of his. One of my favorite rap albums ever.
I did an album. That album cover.
Yeah.
I didn't do that album cover.
God, that's a good album cover.
Bleacher Report. They got me to do an album cover that looked exactly like that, but it had Russell Westbrook's face on it.
Really?
And so I was like, oh, I should probably listen to this album. I was like, fuck, this is pretty good.
I love that album.
So,
It's
there's-
phenomenal.
I'm not like fucking music nowadays, but there is, it's
like real spacey rap, especially with headphones on. It's fucking really good production.
It's a vibe. Yeah. I like music that sort of sets the vibe kind of thing. So.
Yep.
Does a good album cover draw you in? Or you don't even get album covers now?
Oh no, I still
you know?
like go out of way to make sure Spotify's on the big screen so you can see the album cover. I'm all about that. They need to do more of that. I think for sure.
Yeah, it has kind of dialed off a bit, now. Need like
just remember,
album
like-
covers because you go to the shop,
CD.
you look at it, you just look on Spotify and they have one little photo.
Well, it's the same.
You don't notice it as much.
It's the same.
There's no unless you're buying a physical CD, you're not pulling out
true.
The cover notes, the line notes.
I wonder what the best. I wonder
Looking
what
for the
some of the
lyrics
favorite
and that.
cover artists.
Dude, that Blood Sugar Sex Magic has a pretty good album cover. It's got the four dudes like side profile in like a circle. They've all got their tongues out, and then it's turned into like a tattoo kind of style.
Oh yeah,
It's pretty dope. It's like it's before tribal tattoos just took over.
Yeah. What's your favorite quote of all time?
I don't know if I have a specific quote, but I think we're talking about like quotes to live by and stuff. I'm more about just trying not to take life too seriously.
Yeah, man.
And being able to laugh at yourself, like whether it's like the laughter is the best medicine kind of thing.
Yep.
Like I take the piss out of myself all the time. I think it started as a defense mechanism. Like
It is.
take the piss out of yourself before someone else
100%,
can.
I get that.
The old 8 Mile trick, eh?
It's grounding.
Yeah,
It's grounding.
yeah,
And
yeah,
being
so-
vulnerable in those situations, it's
Absolutely,
it's a good quality in people too.
So, and I think if you can find a balance, like you need to get a buy in life, you need to have confidence in yourself.
Yep.
But it's a fine line. No one likes a douchebag that sort of doesn't have time of day, and so just like shit happens in life, and you need to find ways to laugh at it. Otherwise, you just it gets too much
Get
for you.
caught up in it
So,
all the
Yeah,
time.
send yourself mental if you're worrying about shit.
absolutely, and I do that. I do plenty of that. So that's more
I love
laughter.
that mental. I'm the same, bro. You got to roast yourself.
Yeah,
and if there's someone who's roasting themselves, it's a likable trait.
Absolutely.
Rather than someone who's fucking big note and crack all the time, like Lazo.
Kev, you read Elvis.
Absolutely, man. I think I actually like listen to a lot of comedy podcasts, and I'm sort of a bit of a student of like the history of comedy and stuff. I've always loved just laughing at shit, man. So I think you should be able. Nothing is off limits.
Yeah.
I think you should be able to laugh about anything.
Same.
But you need to, and joke about anything, but you need to know your place. You need to know the room
Yeah.
you're in.
Well,
And you need to know, okay, that's not for me. All right.
yep.
Simple as that.
Yeah, yeah,
Like,
yeah.
if that humour's not for you, move on to the next thing.
Yep.
Don't waste your time bickering about
Flogging
it.
it.
Knowing who
Yeah.
you're talking to, like if we met an hour ago,
Yeah.
if I start calling you names, it's like,
Yeah,
come
you
on,
gotta
man.
kinda earn
But
it, yeah.
Kev,
Look at
we
this
can
talk.
call him a fuck, we
Yeah.
can call
They
him
do every
names.
day these
Yeah.
days.
You gotta earn. I think you have to earn the right.
Yeah,
to-
it's a rite of passage.
You do.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
But no, awesome, man. We'll wrap it up there. I really appreciate you coming
Thanks
on.
for
Like,
coming, man.
I think it's so cool to see a local Townsville lad.
Making it
You know,
worldwide.
man,
Yeah.
this is like, it's crazy to think that you're just sitting there
I
on a
take
laptop
pride
at
in
your
that,
room.
yeah.
In Townsville, in Oakville, or wherever you are.
I'm in Wallaroo, back in Wallaroo,
back in
yeah,
Wallaroo. Wait,
yeah.
Oak Valley would.
Yeah.
I love
There's a
Oak
same
Valley,
place,
but
same
yeah.
place.
And I think that's such a cool thing for people to look at, that you can just, if you hustle hard enough,
Yep.
you can be sitting there and
Yep.
Well, that's what I
make
say,
it,
man.
make waves, you know?
It's the passion behind it. If I wasn't getting paid doing this, I would be doing it in my
Yeah.
spare time for fun anyway. So I've been able to find a way to turn something that I enjoy doing and get some money for it.
That
That's
should be
awesome.
your quote. You know, what's that quote? Find something you love doing and you'll never
never
work a day in your life.
life. That's true.
Yeah,
That's
I'm
true.
envious of that. That's good, bro.
Yeah, I-
But,
That's cool.
but yeah, it's so cool to see, bro. And yeah, glad we could catch up and have a chat.
Thanks for coming on, man.
Appreciate it, man.
Legend.
Good.
Cheers, Lee. Thanks,
Sweet.
listeners. We'll catch you next time, casuals.
Thank you.
Peace out.
Yo.